Hello, hello, hello. We are finally back with a little bit of streaming today. Sorry that I've been gone for a while. Life has been busy and I've been tired, so that's only the best way I can describe it. But yeah. Hello, Floof, Cosby, Edsa. Nice to see you guys. We are going to do a little bit of the pit lane challenge here until the sprint starts in about 3 or so hours in Miami. But yeah, I think we have realized that we are not winning this title in the first season, the Pit Lane Championship. That just is not happening. As you can see, we are basically we need to score as many points as we already scored just to catch up with McLaren. So maybe we hit the Red Bull a little bit too hard when we kidnapped GP here. But I think it's fine to capitulate here and say that in the race remaining we're not winning. And honestly here, I would like Ferrari to actually finish ahead of us here in the first season, but just because of the fact that we're getting more CFD time, if they do. Which is kind of hilarious, but it is going to be my hope. Hello Ty, how you doing? Hope everyone is doing good today. The Cospi is still living well. And apparently, Floof's internet just can't handle my stream here. Hello Marcus, just a heads up for everyone, I'm streaming to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So I'll try and read out the chat messages to keep things consistent between both chats depending on where you want to watch. But yeah. We are just going to head directly into Singapore here, and we're going to continue this little journey of ours. 50% safety car chance, Floof with the fear of basically Alpine failure means that this should actually be a pretty good race, all things considered. In testing out the 2025 DLC mod and how quickly you can make a car into a winner, and confirm Aston Martin can be winning within the first 2 races. Yeah, most teams can be pretty strong really early at start because you get an extra 3 months of development compared to the, well, usual save. Well, 2 months really. Appreciate that, Marcus. Hello. Enjoy your game. Hello, Canavia. How you doing? Watch Thunderbolts. What's good, not gonna lie. That's good. Hello, Mind. Honestly, it's been so long here that I'm kind of misfiring on what I'm supposed to do. I think we are just gonna allow the parts that are in the car to be in the car. We might need to buy some new ERSs, but that's usually how things go. Alonso's definitely going to need a new ERS at one point. I still remember the Osama bin Russell incident. So we're going to go back to a good and an old one just to be on the safe side here. Save ourselves a little bit of money. And waste these older components. Because, well, why wouldn't we? Yeah, you didn't have an extra ERS. No matter how many times I check, it's still not going to be an extra ERS, even though I might want it. Alonso, at least all can't get on a podium. To remember your mind, yes. I appreciate you stopping by again. My internet is perfectly fine throughout the day, but the second you start streaming it goes kaput. Love it. Have I tried the realistic racing mod yet? No, I haven't actually had time, Edster. Like, I barely had time to sit down last weekend, 2 weeks ago? I don't even remember. And make the Around the Grid episode, so I have not really had time to sit down and experiment with the realistic racing mod. Hopefully this week I'll have a little bit more time. I'm planning to sit down tomorrow and try and edit maybe 2 or 3 videos. So we can see how that goes. You would try for championship with realistic racing mod. That could be an idea, Cosby. That could actually be an idea right there. That we slap in the realistic racing mod, because from what I read, it makes it more likely for incidents to happen with everyone. Lap 1 incidents are more common, things like that. So it could be interesting to just see what effects it would have on the driver championship. But it could also just mean that whoever has the lowest control is going to get absolutely shafted to the shadow realm, really. And while that could be funny, it's would also be probably very frustrating for at least one individual who shall remain. shall remain identity protected, shall we say. Yeah, it could be fun. Honestly, I'm not against testing out the realistic, realism mod. What's it called again? Realistic racing mod in the Viewer Championship. I wouldn't mind that. I find out it does cut back on the cost of swapping with DRS and does make dirty air more effective. Honestly, it would be interesting to see how that would play out. So yeah, we might actually do 2-in-1 basically then, and allow the driver championship to be a bit of a testing ground to see what we can expect from a realistic driver mod. I wouldn't mind that. Gonna dry up quite a lot towards the end, so it's basically just a banker confidence building run. I'm gonna start a new F1 season. Any suggestions for teams to start with? What are you looking for in your new season mind? Looking for a challenge? Looking to have fun? Like, what are your expectations? Basically, which is the question I ask everyone when they ask what team to start with.
Okay, cool the tires and we will box this lap. Box this lap. Copy.
Alpine. Well, you have the Alpine spokesperson here, so can make that work. I'll see. I'm just gonna sell my cars out for quality, and then I'll catch up with you guys. So we're already in purgatory. Is it actually gonna dry up enough here that we can use soft tires? I don't think it will, but like, look at this. What is the AI gambling on? Danny Rick is gambling on a soft tire. Okay. It is actually drying up enough here that a soft tire is viable. Adaptability is going to be quite the deciding factor in this qualifying, I think. Okay. We're kind of playing with fire here. But I don't see any other way of doing this. It is still drying. It's going to dry up a little bit more, so let's try and get our cars out before Tsunoda gets here. And this way we should still have plenty of time. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting run here. Let's just put it like that. Everyone is on a soft tire. It's going to be a soft tire qualifying with almost 50 millimeters of rain on the track. Can do it with the 2025 DLC mod. Oh yeah, for mine. Sorry. It's so terrible. Well, at least you and Floof have something in common then, I guess. Both you have internet troubles. Okay, I would assume this is going to be a green sector from Signs. Anything else would actually be kind of disappointing. And we have actually timed this pretty well, so Danny Rick is not going to be happy with when he set his time. You can already see it by him just falling down the order. Leclerc did a boo-boo here, I think. But the question is, where are we going to end up? We waited the longest. Ocon and Gasly both out in Q1. The Alpine traditions live strong here. Leclerc does survive. Danny Rick, Albon, Ocon, Magnussen, and Gasly out. Pepper would have been pretty good, but at the same time, I didn't expect it, so let's be honest. It is what it is. Okay, Q2, let's go. What this challenge is about? Basically, for every race, I have to start from the pit lane, which basically means we're starting dead last in every race. It's basically the same as a last to first challenge over the course of the whole season. But it's starting out with the worst team, however. We're starting out with Sauber. This is the first season. We're currently in shared third with Ferrari. We're going to need another season to finish this challenge, most likely. But it's basically just straight up start in the pit lane. Do your best to win every race. Let's see here. Porsche looks nice. You played with Haas. Again, it depends on what you want to do. Do you want to try and race talent? Do you want to have a bit of a challenge? Do you want to give a, you know, the old greats a new chance, that sort of thing? Kind of putting together your own scenario that kind of makes this game a lot of fun, particularly when you've already done a couple of playthroughs. But if you want something different from Haas, Alpine is challenging because they have the worst engine, basically. That's one of the things that makes them very, very challenging to deal with. When it comes to Sauber, they just pretty shit across the board. So it's kind of a challenge to bring them back into winning form. Looks like here both Ferraris and Astons are out as well as Sargent. But yeah, it again just depends what you're looking for. You can, of course, always download other teams like Porsche, as you said. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So again, it's just going to be highly dependent on what you want to do. A lot of people like to play Mercedes just to bring them back to glory, that sort of thing. So it's gonna be up to you, and again, what you're looking for. To me, every team kind of plays very, very similarly when you get down to just how they function in the scope of the game. So you kind of do need to make your own storyline, if you will, to get the maximum amount of fun out of this game, I feel. Q2, and we have made it through. Why am I qualifying? Why am I wasting engine and stuff to qualify when I'm going to start last anyways? Hang on. Why am I doing this? Because we're wasting tires and we're wasting... To be fair, in this case, it actually kind of makes sense because we got an extra soft tire out of it, but why am I qualifying? Yeah, I couldn't watch it live at stuff, but Antonelli taking sprint pole was actually kind of nuts, not gonna lie. I am worried though that those Mercs might be running a little bit too low, and we might be looking at another plank disqualification this weekend. So hopefully they haven't screwed the drivers over there. Love testing different junior drivers personally. In my next playthrough, I'm planning on singing Stuka and Browning. That's a lineup that I don't think I've heard anyone else say that they're going to play flute. And that says something, that no one else mentions that they're going to play them. That is... that's a wild one. But yeah, Hulkenberg with penalties, Tsunoda with penalties, apparently. I assume this is components. But we're starting from the pit lane anyway, so us one-upping the Alpines, it wasn't actually necessary. But still worth it. And honestly, going to Q3 and getting extra soft tire for a dry race does make sense from a strategic standpoint. So at least it wasn't completely stupid. But I do now need to tweak the setup slightly here, just so I can put myself back in the pit lane where I evidently belong. And we can also gamble here on moving the anti-roll distribution here. The traction for Alonso. See if we get that a little bit better. No strategy at Singapore. We're starting dead last, so I don't think the idea here from the AI is the worst thing I've ever seen. However, I do want to change it a little bit. And we're probably going to do something similar to this. I just need to pit before everyone else. Lap 10 should get that done. We have another tire we could use. Hard tire here apparently is going to work out just fine. So, do something like this. The strategy is, slightly quicker. That's fine. And even the AI planner has now jumped on the light strategy, apparently. But yeah, this might actually just work out just fine. Which was a lot of just, but you get the idea. And we'll probably do the final hard stint here, if the temperature allows it, light. Just to have something to fight with towards the end. Similarly here, for Alonso, we're going to basically do the exact same thing. We burn those softs immediately in order to just get the most out of them that we can. And interestingly enough, Alonso actually does have 2 medium tires that we can light run if we want to. Is that going to be quicker than using a hard tire? No. Just because you have to run them so far down, it's better to just do the medium to hard. That's what we're going to do for both boys here. That should be just a-okay. And it is a high chance of a safety car. So going for longer for our second and our third stint can pay off dividends. So kind of hoping that is how it is going to play out here, really. We're underfueled, we're prepped, and we're ready to go into Singapore.
Well, it's great to have you with us, folks, as we settle in for the weekend.
It's worse in my current state. I'm using Lindblad and one of the lowest timing rated drivers.
Here's a determined
Nakamura Berta. Sounds like an interesting lineup. Let's just say it like that. Oh, we have a friend in the pit lane. As Verstappen leads everyone away here. Again, I don't think we're beating Verstappen. I don't think we're beating Leclerc. Well, we might actually beat Leclerc because we're just ahead of him in the pits. But in terms of tyres, everyone but 3 cars are on the softs. So we are going to need to burn these quite efficiently if we want to take advantage in this race.
Gasly 3.8 in front. Fernando behind you.
Better starts off at 46 overall, I think, with max development. Someone did suggest that I should do the, or rather, not really suggest, someone had an idea to try a 1-rated driver and see how quickly you can get them to win a championship. That's probably what I'm going to do at one point, just for fun. See you later, Cosby. Appreciate you stopping by. How can you stop in pit lane every race? If you, yeah, changing the setup. As long as I change my setup after qualifying is complete, then it is not a problem to, and it's not a problem to start in the pit lane. That is literally it. You are correct. Hello, Vice of Cereal. Appreciate it. Just a heads up, I'm streaming both YouTube and Twitch, so if you don't see others in chat, I'm replying to the YouTube chat. Yeah, so far here, there isn't really much for us to do, but just speed this up a little bit. The first couple of laps here is just going to be pain anyways, because the AI will be using the tires, the fuel, the energy, everything here. Apparently Science is shuffling back and forth with Leclerc, and we are going to have to just manage, not really manage, but just not use our battery. I'm going to save it until the AI has used theirs. How difficult are you making that 1-rated driver challenge? Maximum development? Maximum development, yes. It's going to be a 1-rated drive with maximum development, because otherwise it's just never going to end. You're going to have to wait for the second big regulation change to beat the AI then, as Gasly gets overtaken. I think it's time for us to start pushing, get a couple of positions here before we pit. And I appreciate the follow, Prebeno. Appreciate that. But yeah, if it's something that I want to do, but again, time is just such a big constraint, Floof, that doing something like that it's going to take quite a lot of seasons, I think, to win a title. You could, of course, be lucky and get it in the second season with the big regulation change. Second, third, basically. But it would still be a bit challenging. I think you could do it if you min-max development to the extreme, as well as making sure that you get basically your team hub, your race sim up and running. I want to try it. It's just time has been the limiting factor for a while. A lot of things I want to do. I'm probably going to be sitting down tomorrow editing and also playing the new V Rising update, because I've been looking forward to that game. I'm not going to lie. And apparently 1.1 dropped like the start of this week. So I wanna mess around with that if I have some free time. I think that was fucking fine until you hit it with an ad. I'm sorry, Floof. Blame the YouTube. Well, because of that ad, you lost. I guess you missed out on Occo and overtaking Alonso. That is now over and done with. Interestingly enough, these tires are degrading a lot more than they should. Well, not really. We're going over the temperature. So I don't think I mind it, honestly. This means that we're going to end up pitting earlier, which is not the worst thing ever. And everyone else is actually taking pretty good care of their tires. So, yeah, this is kind of a problem for me. And basically now we're going to have science pit on this lap. Lap 7. Definitely burn these up a little bit harder than I should.
We are ready.
But apart from that, not really much I can do. I think I'm going to have to allow... Nah, we're going to have to double stack. Like, I can't get around it. We are going to... I did not expect us to burn this badly. I'm not going to lie. We are 3 laps ahead of schedule here. Alonso will have to conserve. But yeah, that is literally just how hard we burn these tires. Hopefully the undercut will pay off though. That's the only thing I can hope for. Hello Nieto, how you doing? Nice to see you here. There we go. Sainz is the first one to pit here. And Alonso will be coming in this lap. I'm curious if this is going to work, though, in Singapore. It's going to be very, very interesting. And temperature is going to be another problem around here, I think. We need these about 90 degrees, I think. We're getting there. And honestly, I don't mind it going slow because we're still somewhat quicker than most of the cars in the, well, top 5, top 6 below. We're quicker than most of them. As long as we keep that up, undercuts will be happening here, and that is the important part. So for once, we're just going to 16x ahead here. And the temperature is actually within the expected window. Hulkenberg has even managed to crash. Is this Haas-on-Haas violence?
Here we are, we're looking at turn 11.
Appreciate the follow, Mega Shamari, thank you.
And you can see how the cars come together.
I've got my exams on Monday. All guys say to let go a bit 3 days before then. Well, that's what I'm doing. Wish you luck. Well, I hope you have a good weekend then, Nieto. I hope like you are. Seems like you're planning to have a good night tonight. Never thought you'd start streaming? I've actually been streaming for a while, Mega. I just started multi-streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. I've mainly been streaming on YouTube. Now I'm currently streaming on both at the moment, so that is why I'll be responding to chat that you might not see. Apologies for that. But yeah, I've been streaming for a couple of years already, on and off, to be fair. Magnussen versus Hulkenberg. No penalties. At least they weren't punished for their crimes. But yeah, once the pit stop starts here, we can potentially jump all the way up to Hamilton. And Tsunoda has now picked up a mechanical fault. Gonna slow them down even more. But yeah, we're not beating Norris or Verstappen this year. Just it's not happening. Hey Nero, I got a question about the next season of the Euro Championship, and it's not when it's going to start for once. What is your question, Floof? Hello David, how you doing? What is the inquiry, Floof? Okay, so we have undercut Magnussen. I guess we'll be seeing other cars jump into pits right now. It's not going to be long until they start pitting. And as I mentioned here, we are going to jump very likely up ahead of Hamilton here. Sorry, not up ahead of Hamilton, ahead of Tsunoda. We're going to get closer to Hamilton, at least in the top 10. Which will be good. It will be decent enough. In terms of our current lap times, we're doing 36.3s, 36.2s. It's 5 tenths, sometimes even a couple of seconds quicker than someone else around here. So, Piastri doing 38.4s here. Pushing a little bit harder now, but we are 1.5 seconds quicker than most cars on the grid. So we'll be seeing a pretty significant jump here up in race position once these pit stop starts. And we see Piastri, we see Verstappen come in, and we aren't that far off. Really. The Piastri, of course, is going to pull ahead of us again. But with the only ones that have currently pitted being Verstappen and Piastri ahead of us, and us being very close to, well, even Hamilton here, we are going to most likely jump Hamilton as well. Then it's just management and praying for a safety car. I've been waiting for season 6 to start. Well, unfortunately, I just haven't had time to set it up properly, David. I will not have time to stream tomorrow either, so just wouldn't have any chance to get it done this weekend. Am I allowed to enter my boy caller Pinto? Just literally give him my stats, put him on whatever team I end up driving for? I guess the only problem with that is if everyone wants to be a specific driver, because it's just going to be very time consuming to edit individual drivers for everyone if we do that, Floof. But we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not gonna give the go ahead just yet. Are we gonna get Russell here? Are we gonna catch Russell? Sainz, in fact, does just about catch Russell. We're running with him right now, and that is pretty good news. Russell actually went to a soft tire. Piastri, Verstappen, all of them have done the same. But yeah, now we're definitely in it here, or at least maybe probably not a podium, but probably at least a top 6, top 7 finish. That is what I'm gonna hope for. Apart from that, there isn't really much for us to do here. It's just wait, really. We can't really fight Russell. We can't really find anyone else here. It is literally just us waiting for the rest to pit here. And the question now is, did Perez wait long enough there that we're actually going to beat him out? He did, in fact, do just that. Is Perez doing a one-stopper here? No, those are soft tires. He's not doing a one-stopper. But being behind both of our cars, it's not going to be good thing for him. Hamilton is still out on those medium tires, so we could see Hamilton do medium to hard, which would be bold by the AI. But I don't know. The AI does silly stuff sometimes. Let's see what they actually end up doing here. Hamilton has pitted. What has he pitted onto? A soft tire. Okay. So basically everyone now has basically said that we're going to all be pitting again. And I think everyone is going to be pitting again onto the hard tire. So we're going to try and do basically an undercut again. But as you can see here, Russell has already gained 4 seconds. Remember, he pitted and came out right next to us. So we're not really undercutting because we're getting pulled away from here. But I think, again, 6th and 7th is a realistic place for us to finish. And already you can see Perez is just pulling away, which is expected in these circumstances. He even picks up fastest lap. In terms of our tires, things are kind of going as expected here. But yeah, we are definitely struggling now for lap time. The lap time that we gained at the end of their stints, we're losing right now very, very quickly. In terms of our car, if everyone has forgotten, the car is basically 9 to 10. We have a virtual safety car, as Sargent has found himself in an incident.
Barely any room to maneuver.
This is a Ferrari assassination.
There, the cars make contact.
That's...
There'll be more than one unhappy team after that.
That's a different incident.
While all that was happening, the crew in the garage.
That is a different incident. What happened to Sargent, though? That's kind of what I want to know here. I assume he spun out?
And here we've got a yellow flag.
Did he get distracted by what happened ahead and just crash? Yeah, that is some components gone. That's not good for the Williams driver here. And Tsunoda's failure has escalated. Hauge picks up a penalty. It's all kicking off, and in terms of time saved here under virtual safety car, it is 3 seconds. Not really worth it for us to pit here. So we are just going to keep on going. It's a shame. Sargent could have caused safety car. He failed to do his job. Very sad. Very sad indeed. Virtual safety car is ending. For a second there, I thought someone had caused the safety car.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But yeah, For now, we're just going to try and kind of stay where we are. Hamilton is catching us here. And our tire is dying a slow death here. It's not a good thing, so... But just a few laps until we need to pit, we can start doing a little bit of the pushing. And honestly, that should be a-okay here. We're going to basically be damaging Hamilton's tires a little bit by pushing ahead of him. So, that is just going to be a silver lining here to this. Now, because Hulkenberg and Tsunoda both have potential now for mechanical failures, it might be a bad idea to go this aggressive. And... you know, do an earlier pit stop than planned. I think that's just how we're going to have to do things. We are going to come out here pretty far towards the back here. We should be out ahead of Ocon, behind Albon. So, interestingly enough here, we're actually getting a pretty decent window. Pretty decent window with a lot of breathing space. So, this is currently working out to our advantage, I dare say. Where is Ocon right now? He is currently heading to the final couple of corners. And as I mentioned here, we're going to have a huge amount of breathing space, a good 10 seconds up to the cars ahead. So as long as we manage these hards well, 6-7 should be on the table. It's not going to be anything glamorous, but it would be a decent enough result that we can be happy with, I think. Now, because Alonso is following Hamilton here, and Hamilton is on fresh softs, we're going to allow Alonso to do one more lap. Purely because DRS should keep him in the game. And with that, we'll get him in for a hard tire. We could go medium. I think it's better to save that in case there is an incident down the road. Sainz is a little bit exposed since he doesn't have an extra medium, but for Alonso here, he should be just fine, I think. You can already see also that Sainz has taken 2.5 seconds out of the time of the cars ahead, so they're being held up a little bit. See you later, Nieto. Hope you enjoy. Hope you and your dog enjoy your walk. Yeah, Alonso here, clean stop, what we needed, and Sainz comes out ahead, which is also not unexpected. McLaren and Red Bull combination is just a little bit hard to beat this season. There are things I could have done to optimize it further. So, I might revisit this and try and do the pit lane challenge in basically just the first season. Maybe with a different team. We do something like that. But we see other cars start pitting. Albon, Hauger, Gas is in. Sainz has cleared Stroll. Alonso now is going to need to do the same thing. And the quicker we clear Stroll here, the better. So, we're going to have Sainz push a little bit ahead with energy. Because any undercut we do here is going to be highly dependent on how effectively we get past these cars ahead. As we see both Verstappen and Russell pitting. Verstappen to a medium, Russell to a medium. They're probably going to try and go till the end on those, which is honestly fine. Leclerc and Show, Tsunoda, all of them are coming in. They're kind of responding to us a little bit, I dare say. With that, we are jumping up ahead of most of them. Russell is out on fresh tires out of us. It kind of was that to begin with, so it's not really a big deal. We are going to get Danny Rick no matter what happens here. We are very likely to get Hamilton, whatever happens here. So as I mentioned, 6th and 7th is very, very likely to be where we will be finishing. Unless something happens here. You know what? I'm testing Twitch. If it actually wants to load. Well... Thank you for the follow, Floof. Appreciate it. But yeah. Good morning, Gridiron. How you doing? Floof has abandoned the YouTube line and gone to Twitch instead. That's actually kind of funny. But yeah, we see Alonso here now. Gonna face up against Danny Rick, and honestly, it shouldn't even be a contest. 43% mediums versus basically fresh hards here. Even if we're taking a little bit easier, that should not be a contest at all, and it isn't. But yeah, we're not really going to be able to fight, as I mentioned, the McLarens. They're just a little bit too far ahead here. Doing good. Excited for the sprint race today. I'm too. I am too. I'm looking forward to that as well. Booth reports that he is happy to have more than 2 pixels and no buffering. Apparently, YouTube really doesn't like Australia from where I'm streaming, as it turns out. But yeah, for this race, there isn't really much for us to do here. The goal is going to be beat Hamilton. We're not really catching Russell, I think. We're not really catching anyone unless we get a safety car. But from starting last to getting to 7th and 8th is not a bad thing, I dare say. I think we can be happy with this result. Stroll made the mechanical fault now. Hamilton finally pits. And you can see that we beat him out pretty cleanly here. What tires is the choice of Hamilton? Soft tires, 19 laps. I mean, it's doable, but his tires are going to be absolutely chewed out by the end. And he needs to clip both of our cars, so we could be a little bit of a nuisance here. We could be a little bit of a nuisance. But there, again, portion of this race doesn't really have any spice to it at this point. And most of the season don't. I'm kind of tempted to simulate the end of it. But the negative part of that is just straight up that it wouldn't really be the pit lane challenge anymore if I did. But for now, 16X is going to be the name of the game. Maybe slow it down a little bit. Norris, Piastri, then we have Verstappen. Norris probably will not be able to gain that Verstappen. It's just too far ahead. But it's an interesting strategy, and I can see for Hamilton, his tires has already gone a lot worse than they used to be. Not going to be good for him. Stroll's fault is escalating too. We could have a safety car here towards the end of this race, and that would really spice things up a little bit. That would give us a chance to get on the podium. And speak of the devil, an Ocon shall appear in your corners to grant you what you desire. The problem here is he's granted it probably a little bit too close to the pit lane. He's probably granted a little bit too close to the pit lane. And if we take a look at the strategy here, can we do a soft tire? We can. We can do a soft tire. And the question is just going to be now, is a soft tire going to be quicker or a medium tire, say on full attack, going to be quicker for Alonso? Because we are pitting. The gaps are good enough that we can pit, and I think it is a light soft here is going to be the play. Like, look at this. We are going to lose basically 3-4 positions. I think that's going to be worth it, though. I think everyone below 80% is going to pit. That is the very, very likely outcome here. So let's just get both of you guys into the pit lane on a soft tire. And let us pray that Sainz just goes pit here. Sainz does not go pit. Alonso does, so I didn't freeze the game quickly enough, unfortunately.
Right, let's follow the action now at turn
Floof
7.
making things interesting. Yeah, indeed. The Floof curse in full action here. And Ocon just didn't... what? Ocon just didn't turn the car. What is that? Ocon turned so hard that he pulled the steering wheel off there mid-turn. That is actually kind of hilarious. And you can even see Hamilton here comes in behind. So everyone will be pitting. Yeah, as you say, you just drove directly into the barriers. I managed Singapore last week and it was insane. Went from Norris losing his front wing because he was aggressive towards one of my drivers to my other driver getting the 3rd podium. Yeah, Singapore can be either very boring or extremely interesting due to safety cars. I'm not going to lie. Okay, so at least Alonso here had a clean stop, which is going to be pretty good. We're just going to put that to conserve for the time being. Debris all around indeed. Yeah, everyone here is going to be pitting. It's going to be soft tire fight till the end. Norris stays out. That's not good for the McLaren crew. Wait, the Sainz... I had a mini heart attack there because I thought Sainz went by again since he said it was still on hards. I finally get to see what's happening, and this is what the game shows me. It's Floof reporting from Twitch chat. He immediately got cursed, and I just can't. It's too funny. It's just classic Floof like that. He asks rhetorically, how many incidents is Alpine gonna be in? And then Ocon just drives into the wall. Brilliant. It is just brilliant. But yeah. This spices things up. To see us finish a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Everyone basically on the same tires. Norris and Magnussen on old tires, so could definitely be detrimental. And laps at the moment. Remember, we burnt our tires in the on the first lap in like 7 laps. I think we're gonna just run light on the restart. I know it sounds silly, but I think it's just gonna be the best bet for us to get a good result here. Gonna be 9 laps remaining once we cross the line. It's not gonna be a lot of laps to play with the tires, but it is gonna be just enough, I think. I'll be able to take advantage of it. Hopefully.
Safety car in this lap.
We're going to deploy here for the first lap and hope that DRS is going to be enough for us to keep up with Russell, Perez, and Piastri. And of course keep Hamilton at bay. We'll have to see if it actually goes as we hope, however. The one consoling factor is that all the Ferrari fans are equally depressed. Blue firing shots at the Ferrari fans. Gasly gets a mechanical failure for your hubris, Floof. I will say that in my gameplay, I didn't realize how important the upgrades were until halfway through the season, because my cars went from 11th and 12th to 16th and 17th. Yeah, that definitely makes... yeah, upgrades definitely do have quite the effect on the car. I made my build ideas for next season for the Viewer Championship, including bits of 300, 350, and 400 points allocated. Well, we'll probably be I'll probably be setting something up this weekend in terms of that cost speed, so rule set will be put together and then we'll take it from there. Another safety car, Magnussen this time. We've heard a sigh of relief over the fact that it wasn't another Alpine.
Eyes on dash.
Here we are then, looking at turn 12.
Did bring some updates for Coda. That's good.
And
That is good,
inside the
Yuki.
wall. And that's a tough one to take for both driver and the car.
Kevin Crashmas.
It's not going the way
Unfortunate for the Haas crew here, but yeah, that's another safety car. And now I'm gonna wonder if the Norris AI is gonna be stupid enough to pit. That is gonna be my question here. I don't think it will happen, but it could. And it won't. That's a little bit unfortunate. Everyone is kind of just managing the tires. We're barely ahead at the moment. So I think what's going to happen in our restart is just full send. We go aggressive. We try and keep the tires within the temperature windows. And just get as many overtakes as we can here. Not full attack, just aggressive. I think that's just going to have to be how we play this. As the safety car now is ending, and it's just 4 laps remaining.
Get ready.
Once we cross that line. Norris wins if there's another safety car. Let's hope there isn't. Lewis going to Alpine next season because Alonso's replacing him. Okay. I love that Alonso's just like, no, I'm not staying behind. I'm getting the overtake done. Your save is a weird place, Yuki. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what's season I'm in, though? I assume it is 2020... Is it 2025? Verstappen now with mechanical fault. Piastri with the mechanical fault. Last laps there, definitely spicing things up a little bit. Temperatures are high on the engines. So we could definitely see more mechanical faults here too, which would make things even funnier. Alonso now moves up to 4th. And the tire temp is a little bit concerning. Stroll now with a fatal fault. And does go into pit lane, so no more safety cars at least. Sainz still not really getting anything done back here, which is a little bit unfortunate. And for Alonso here, we do need to clear Piastri if we want to catch Verstappen and Norris. Energy is going to be a bit of a concern here. And honestly, I just want to hound Piastri. If Piastri falls just outside of DRS here, that would actually be for the best. Because I still need energy to deal with the Red Bull and the remaining McLaren. Sainz, I'm going to need you to do a little bit of harvesting while trying to stay within DRS, 2 cars in front. You just couldn't get the overtake done. It sucks. Alonso gets his job done here. Gets 2 jobs done, actually, up into second. And we're going to run a little bit of top up here behind Norris.
Okay, recharge on.
The Sainz, put him back to neutral. Honestly, 2 laps remaining. We are just going to go full send on these tires. 120 degrees is the maximum. But even then, it's just keeping things, keeping ourselves in the fight somehow. And for Alonso here, we could potentially just keep him at neutral. And do the same thing, go full send. Sainz is struggling right now to keep up. There's no other way to say it. Alonso now takes the lead. Beautiful. And we still have a small advantage over Norris. He's probably going to re-overtake us with DRS here. There's just no way to really defend against that. All there is, we can always defend. And final lap now.
Certainly don't let any cars pass you.
Yes, certainly don't let any cars pass you, indeed. That's some words of wisdom right there. Let me borrow the Ferrari line. Let's add that to the words of wisdom. Oh, yeah, that is not going to be great. I need Alonso now back on neutral so he doesn't defend against the cars behind. He keeps on fighting the car up ahead.
There is a crash.
Oh, that's a crash.
There. Watch out.
Now is that Yuki Tsunoda?
It's Tsunoda.
Let's have a look at that.
Yuki, you've done
Now, this
shenanigans.
is the 7th corner. And you can see how tight it is. The car's coming together right there. A bitter blow too.
Who did he even crash with there?
Recharge off.
I assume it was Show. I'm just gonna have to deploy here. We're gonna just have to try and keep everything, do everything that we can right now to keep Norris at bay. It's gonna be a little bit difficult. It is a DRS zone. Sainz unfortunately just weren't able to take advantage of anything here. And I think with this, we're gonna take a very unexpected. Ooh, maybe not.
No guys. No guys.
No. No, don't let him do that to you. I did use a little bit too much energy there. That's my bad. But you should have defended.
Yeah.
We gave that away for free. But yeah, Norris first. We take second. Sainz comes 7th. Just couldn't do the overtakes Alonso did. That's really disappointing.
That's the checkered flag.
That's really disappointing. Alonso didn't put enough points into the defending. Well, no, who's replacing Alonso? Bottas. Rick and Show are replacing both Hulkenberg, Bortoledo, whilst Perez is replacing Behrman. Sounds like you have a very interesting save, Yuki, to be fair. I say right now, Lewis became free agent, Leclerc go to RB, and Ferrari back to Gasly and Alonso. Let's add that to the words of wisdom, yes. Hello, Sanjita, how you doing? I was indeed denied Edster. It sucks. I got karma'd, literally there, and Alonso being involved just makes it even funnier. Can you take some time later to explain a little bit of how you did the championship? Just got the game finished downloading, just need some help to get started. How I do like to view championships, or are you talking about something else, Sanjita? I'm a little bit confused. Yeah, Norris just took that away from me. It's very unfortunate. He's not a student of the wall. Shut up, Bloof. Yeah, Norris is leading this championship and has been for a while, so it's not bad. 6th and 7th just seems to be what we're destined to do. And honestly, well, Sargent is 21st in a 20 driver championship. Fate is aligning right now, so I don't think I can be too upset. Unfortunately, this pushes us ahead of Ferrari. As mentioned, I would like to finish 4th just for more CFD time. But fun races are fun races, so we'll take that as the cost of doing business. don't know why Sauber decided to let both their drivers go because that's hard for Bortoleto. I think it's just how AI does transfers in this game. They basically prioritize getting a new driver in rather than basically refreshing or re-signing their current drivers. So if a driver runs out of contract, they're very likely to go to a different team simply because there is no team that is interested in them, if that makes sense, which sucks. Don't get me wrong. But it's just the way the game likes to do things. So regulation changes. We're definitely losing a lot of effluent middle. I think we can get engine cooling by just doing it like this. Make a stronger car for next year. That's exactly what we're going to do. Financially, we don't have a lot of muscle, so we're going to have to kind of play it a little bit safe. But yeah, we are definitely just going to be focusing on research now until we get to the next season. And I do believe that I was supposed to make car parts last time around. And, well, let's just say it like this. I didn't do it. And it's looking a little bit bare here. It looks like we are going to have to make a lot of new parts. Okay, let's just start with the basic ones. A couple of front wings. We're going to need a couple of rear wings. Definitely going to need a side pod. I'm going to be poor very soon because we don't have a lot of money. Get Aston Martin Game Stroller 4-year extension. It might be hard-coded, I don't know. Aston is a weird place. It's a weird place to be. So, who knows? Would be very stroll to have a hard-coded contract extension. Really? I might say most of the drivers stay put. Honestly, I don't know what it is. Most of my safe drivers just move around when their contract's up. I guess the poaching is just that insane. I don't know if maybe it's related to difficulty. But in my experience, most drivers just get poached immediately. And yes, this is the Williams experience. No parts, no money. You're not wrong there, Floof. Okay. Let us just do a little bit of pit crew training here. See, the first day of the month is still buggy. Yeah, we want to keep this around 90-ish. So we're going to do just a couple of sessions here at the start of the month. And then we're going to go back to lowering that estimated pit stop time a little bit. Just a tad. Nothing too major. It's a little bit frustrating that it takes this long to do this. But at least we aren't getting tired. Well, that's good. You get one rest day in 2 weeks. I think that's breaking some labor law somewhere. Particularly in Norway, that would be very much illegal. This is F1, and apparently we do not care for such things. Yeah, if I remember correctly, this should be Brazil. So let's do a little bit of training like this. That should be fine. Waiting Dakota, then Mexico, then Brazil. And honestly, we're losing almost a 10th in pit stop time. And we also do lower the chance of mistakes slightly. We do lose some car building. That's fine. I can be bothered to do manual practice, but doing manual pit crew is too tedious. Don't know what Hamilton sees in Alpine because they're 10th in the constructor standings, and not to mention he's replacing Gasly, but doing because that makes sense. I don't know. The thing here is drivers will go anywhere if they don't have a contract lined up. So if they're in the last year of a contract, you can pick up any driver, which is kind of best actually shown by what I've done here with Sauber. This 2024, we got Alonso and we got Sainz. Sainz would not leave Ferrari mid-2024 season to drive a Sauber. So it is very unrealistic in that regard. But the AI is just following the same rules as the player when it comes to snatching drivers, I guess you could say. And we have also finished a research project, if I'm not mistaken. Suspension. And honestly, we should probably just do another one. Airflow Frontier is taking a pretty big hit. But we aren't focused on cornering anyways, so... I think it's fine to just focus a little bit more on that tire preservation. 2%. We can do 3 more of these, which we should, depend with the time remaining of this year. That's going to be very helpful next season, so... Let's just see if we can get a little bit more research done here. Front wing, I'm pretty sure I use CFD on this one, which should be a pretty big increase. We will have... well, at least one more CFD period coming our way. So, we'll see what we do with that one. He believes in Floof. Maybe Hamilton does, in fact, believe in the Floof. My save is going to be interesting for next season. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing how, just how interesting that save is going to be. Okay, let's make a chassis. Financially, this is going to be kind of dire. And honestly, I don't really need these components. Our car isn't anything to brag about at the moment. 12th in overall car performance, to be fair. So, this car got 2nd place in a race. Can you believe it? And I'll only have enough money to start one of these research projects anew, which is, yeah, a bit of a yikes moment. Okay, we definitely CFD'd the front wing. I could tell by the 14% increase in airflow front. So, I think what we're doing is just a regular... Honestly, underfloor isn't actually losing anything in terms of performance. All of these are 60% in the cornering department. We're actually going to go one more day here, because that underfloor doesn't actually need any research work. I don't care about the dirty air. It's not as big of a concern to me, personally. So let's move one day forward. That way we'll get the sidepod research complete. And with the sidepod research instead, we're just going to restart that one. Because if I'm not mistaken, the regulation change that we're getting is mainly, yeah, airflow middle, airflow front. And for the underfloor, it's just going to be that airflow sensitivity. And that's going to be actually the same case for the rear wing. So front wing, we're basically just focusing on that airflow front. A bit on that tire preservation. Chassis needs a lot of work to keep that airflow middle still competitive. And for the suspension, yeah, we're losing airflow front and tire preservation. So, all in all, I should put another CFD period into either the sidepods here or the chassis, simply because they're losing out so much. So, we'll have to see how or what we end up focusing on, because I'm a little bit unsure what will be the best idea here. Now that we're just going to do this, engine cooling and cornering. And with that, we have very little money remaining. We do have a manufacturing slot, and I think I should have checked. This is actually annoying. We have a slightly better suspension here that we just haven't used. We have a lot better of a side pod that I haven't used, because apparently we got that last time and I didn't think about stuff. That's a waste of money. Okay, let's get that side pod started. We'll have it for one of the cars for Austin. That sucks. I forgot to check my components. I made a rookie mistake here, and I'm going to be very sad about it. The engine cooling is concerning? It can be, but as long as you're around 50 to 60%, you'll be fine. If you just swap components for practice. I'm doing an Alpine save. Tire saving is 15th place. You might want to get to work on that, I think. Tire saving can be a huge factor in getting a little bit of extra performance out of your car. Yeah, we got some more money here. I'm going to put a little bit of research into the underfloor. I'm not going to do anything for the airflow. But just a tiny amount of cornering. We'll take it. It's going to be helpful. Everything helps. Rookie mistake for veteran player, indeed. The problem with coming back to save after Rico 2, yeah, I know. That is something that I should have learned by now to check. That is a bit of a silly mistake, but I think we need to give this to Alonso. It's basically a top speed focused pod. I even have a better underfloor. Yeah, I actually have a pretty decent upgrade here for the car that we completely forgot existed. Well, I forgot existed. Like, we have suspension, we have underfloor. I should have realized once I saw the numbers on these. I even have chassis. I'm very disappointed with myself. Very, very disappointed with myself. But yeah, we'll try and make this work. It's going to make the car a little bit more competitive, of course. And particularly if we look at the second car here, even more competitive. But it is what it is. So for now, we have the chassis. I need another underfloor. So that's sorted. I need a sideboard, which we're making. I'm going to have to make 2 of these. Might as well just get started on them. And then I'll cry myself to sleep that I wasted about 2 million on parts I won't need. Curious, Nero, do you have any thoughts about Miami getting a contract until 2041 while European races are in danger of losing a place on the calendar? Well, the answer to that one is actually pretty simple. It's just money, let's be honest. The only reason why Miami got such a long contract is just straight up money. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that's going to work out with the whole, let's just say, political landscape currently, because everything is kind of just going wonky. And let's face it, F1 is somewhat tourism based to some degree. It's going to be very interesting to see if Miami as a circuit survives until 2041, I guess I'll say. But it's just, again, it's just a money issue, straight up. And it's just something you're going to have to agree with, unfortunately. I don't know why, but when manufacturing parts, I only manufacture one of each part at a time. I like to manufacture up to a certain amount, Floof, so I do it a little bit differently, but honestly, it's not a bad way to do things. I'm surprised Miami's staying that long, considering people doesn't really like it due to the loadout. Due to loadout layout, yeah. It's a person from the US, you're not really wrong about things going wonky. I do find it a bit hypercritical on the FIA's part that they talk about wanting 1 race per nation. We currently have 3 races in the US. Yeah, honestly. I don't know. Again, it's just hypercritical money. That's really all it boils down to. Like, whoever has the money can be the hypocrite. That's literally it. FIA. Formula 1 will always be kind of the highest bidder thing, I feel. Which sucks, don't get me wrong, but it's just the nature of a sport like this. You can really call it a sport, but you get what I mean. It's a shame, but it's just the reality of things. Let's see how this qualifying session goes. Coda. It's gonna be pretty much the same for the entire sprint quality session here. Piastri and Sargent with damage to components. That is huge. Well, Piastri, not Sargent. 2 races in Italy. I don't see Imola lasting much longer, to be fair. To be honest. Yeah.
Save a bit of fuel, please. Copy.
I don't think we should have multiple races in one nation as well. Oh.
Currently P3.
We had an incident. Of course we did. Stroll.
Here we are then at turn 17. And nearly
Multiple Australian GPs would be sick. Who wants us to go back to the French GP? How do we feel about going back to France, everyone? Is that something we want to do? head back to the French GP in any way, shape, or form. I don't. The thing is, I don't know about Imola, honestly. Most of the European races or race venues do struggle with economy, so that's of course going to be a factor. I think we're safe, so we're just gonna stay inside. Economy is going to be a factor for a lot of these races, and let's face it, an American races being backed by bigger money is definitely helping them with staying on the calendar longer. Hauger out dead last. That's unfortunate. Why am I doing sprint quali again? Oh, right. I can mess around with my setups during quali. Okay, we are just gonna sit in the sprint session this time. We need to do one run basically so we can change our setup again before the race. But yeah, we're just gonna sit in the pit lane. I need to remember that I'm starting in the pit lane every time. If I can curse a French team, imagine what I can do to a whole tracking country. Floof would actually make, you know,
Angry.
you would somehow make the trench warfare World War I return, Floof, with your curse. Go back to Magny-Cours. Wouldn't be bad. Now, if everyone wants a racetrack for each country, I need to have the Liechtenstein GP. Someone needs to make that happen. Hockenheim? How long is since there was a German GP on the calendar? Now that you mention it, how long ago is that really? I have a suspicion it's been a while. Okay. Setups. So we can get back to the lane where we belong. It's the pit lane. This is actually basically as close to perfect as we're gonna get. And for Alonso, it's gonna be decent enough, and we can switch it up again after the sprint if we need to. I can under fuel. It's a sprint. Might as well just push fuel for a lap or two. That works out just fine. And honestly, I need to undo my muscle memory here of how to do things.
Things are hotting up here in Texas for the sprint.
Hello, James. 2 weather apps are saying rain will hit the sprint. One isn't at all. And all 3 are predicting rain for the race tomorrow, so that could be interesting, though. Is it time for another Verstappen masterclass in the rain, then? Is that what we're getting? That would be kind of fun to watch. I take a GP out in South Africa for representation on every continent. To be fair, we take an American GP and we push the entire track to South Africa, baby. Honestly, I would like that, to be fair. But I think we're getting... Is it Congo we're getting a track in? Like, FIA has been meeting up with one of the African nations, and I just can't remember which one. But there's definitely some lobbying going on there for an African GP for sure, yeah. Nürburgring? 2021 or 2021? Yeah, basically around COVID, Floof. I think you are correct. One of the weather apps is saying heavy rain in an hour or so. Imagining an inter-start and box for slicks at the end of the sprint. Why are you threatening me with a good time? Because that sounds like actually a fun race. Fun little sprint race as we see Sargent running wide. At home. To be fair, we're actually kind of struggling here to catch up to the back of this train. And that is because they're burning their tires, so that is fine. There's not really much I can do in this sprint, really. Starting from dead last in a sprint race is kind of a death sentence in itself. But we're going to try and move at least up into the points here, as Alonso now will have Gasly to contend with. Add Gasly to contend with. Next up is Hauger. Unless Gasly gets a little bit of revenge here. Does not happen. In Miami, but it can change any moment. That sounds like a lot of places, to be fair, James. But yeah, I would love to have changing condition during sprint. It would actually be kind of amazing. I would appreciate that a ton. Anything that makes for more interesting racing, and wet racing in Miami sounds like a fun time. And we have another trial by fire for the rookies. Gasly, I hope you like being a free agent in my save, says Yuki. Cliff, on the other hand, is begging for the Gasly defense to happen, which it did not. But yeah, time to get Alonso to move forwards a little bit here. We're going to do a little bit of deployment. Sargent and Hauger are dropping back from the train here. Ocon has lost 4 seconds to 12th place. And Albon, so yeah, I think we're going to struggle to get any sort of points finish in this sprint here. Just too hard to overtake and too many cars in the way as we send that Williams to the Shadow Realm. Alonso really bullied. The funny thing is that Alonso bullied Sargent so hard that even Sainz got an easy pass. He might have beaten Gasly, but he won't make it past the block-on. We shall see if block-on can do anything here, because he's already fallen to the Hulkenberg. That could become very, very interesting to witness here. How this one's going to go. Mechanical fault on the ERS, of course. Of course, reduced charge rate, temporary. Caused by overheating and the curbs. The curbs literally jolted a wire loose in my ERS, and it reduced the charge rate, so we'll put that back to neutral. Going to give Sainz a chance to get a little bit of overtaking done. To be fair, the charge rate drop isn't that serious if we're already harvesting almost a max there, unless we're stuck at 1.7. And it does seem like we're stuck at 1.7 here. Yeah, so we're losing 15% potentially from the ERS each lap. That's going to be pretty bad. It is supposed to be temporary though, so let's see if it gets sorted here, as Alonso is squabbling with Magnussen. Send him to the Shadow Realm. Didn't really get that done. The block-on is up next. They're running side by side up ahead here. Can we talk about how beautiful the Miami livery is for VCARB? Honestly, I like the pink livery. I think it's neat. Oh damn, Sainz came out like a rocket right there. But yeah, I do appreciate the livery there for VCARB. They're actually doing proper different liveries rather than the Ferrari blue stripe, which, to be fair, doesn't look terrible. But like, would it kill Ferrari to just one race of the season? Just do a full blue livery? Oh, never mind. Magnussen has been sent to the Shadow Realm.
So unlucky. Are you okay?
Crash involving multiple cars here. Yeah, that one's gonna be on Magnussen. Did he just say who hit me? Really, brother? You lock up into the car ahead and you go, who hit me? Magnussen with a deserved 10-second penalty here. 10 seconds! They hit him with a big one. Sainz is moving upwards there, but let's be honest, no matter what we do here, we're going to need a safety car to get in the points. We're just a little bit too far behind for it to really matter. We do have tire advantage, just a little bit, as Piastri's fault escalates. But no way we are getting 11 seconds on the cars ahead. That just is not happening here, unfortunately. So we are just going to try and manage here and not cause any problems as Alonso overtakes Ocon, and I want to watch that.
Now this happened as they arrived at turn 12.
It was Ericsson, of course. Why did I miss that open goal right there? So thank you for tapping it in. Ferrari's livery made me mad because they had a blue livery last year. I feel like they did something... I don't actually remember Ferrari's blue livery last year, but I feel like they did something very similar to the current one. So I can feel your anger with that one. It makes sense. As Alonso now finally has gotten rid of his problem, which is good. And honestly, I'm going to have both of you conserve for a little bit just to be on the safe side. 5 laps to go here. I don't think we can run attack for 5 laps. We basically have 30% usable tire. I think we can run for 3. I don't think it's going to change anything. As Piastri has a... Piastri needs to pit. Piastri out? Piastri out. No safety car, though. Very, very unfortunate. You know what, Floof? Just because you said that, we're now going to score points. Floof said that Block-on did his job, and now I will not score points. Well, sorry, not Sainz. Alonso, I need you to attack, and you will be pulling one man along. Sainz here. We are going to try and chase down 8th place Hamilton. It's going to be 10 seconds in quite few laps here. So we're going to need an incident. We're going to need Danny Rick here to play the hero. Hero we all need. Hero we all wished for. I don't think it's going to happen, but I can always pray. We're going to start having Sainz 2 go full send here. That is Albano out of the way. Next to show. Should be pretty simple with DRS. And as I said, I need Danny Rickett to play the ultimate blocker to make this happen. Oh god, he's entered in max mode. We were 10 and now we're 5 seconds behind. Go on, Danny. Get him. Break him. Crash him out so I can get points and prove Ruth wrong. That's all I need here. Okay, for Sainz here, it is time to deploy a little bit and get by. I thought I already put you to deploy, my bad boy. And now, get past the nuisance that is Stroll. And since you don't really use a lot of the ERS around this track, should be able to keep on pushing. So either Danny Rick, I need you to catch Hamilton here and block him, or I need you to fall behind and then we catch you. Either result is acceptable. You can pick even. I will allow you to pick which fate you wish to suffer here. Lufa said once again that I'm not close enough. We are 2 seconds behind Danny Rick here, and there's one more lap to go after this one. Danny Rick has lost DRS. 2 seconds now. 1.7. 1.6. Oh, come on. Come on. I want you to catch him. Do it. You're getting DRS from Hamilton. You cheeky bugger. I think we also have DRS though, so
caution on the battery.
We do.
No DNS. No DNS for him.
The question now is, can we get an overtake done? That is all that is the big question that needs to be answered. Okay. Right, that's science. That's the wrong card. Okay. What is wrong with this picture, Floof? Why did you just pull a German accent there? I don't know. I don't know. Honestly. You need to change the rule where 9 and 10 can score points in sprint. It's still just the top 8, so yeah. Top 8 scores points in the sprint. You did not need to assist Nero's nefarious goals. Smite the bot with the banhammer. Give me a sec here. I don't do Twitch, so I don't know how to smite the bot with a banhammer, to be fair. I'll learn for next time, I guess. Because I can't find any tools to smite the boss here. The bot here. Let's see here. Can I turn you into like a moderator? Oh, there we go. What? Sorry, I am trying to do some smiting. Yes, I have smited the bot. Oh. Sorry, everyone. I'm being confused here. There we go. Sorry. I'm back. Apologies, everyone. I was about to say sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know. Sometimes I just do accents for fun. I apologize. Okay. Alonso, I need you to pull a brink stroke here on Hamilton. Oh, that's not good. We got close, though. If we had a little bit more battery. Oh, Verstappen with a mechanical failure. A little bit too late there, buddy. If you got that a little bit earlier, then it might have changed things. Paris wins the sprint. What? That's not correct.
Okay, that's the checkered flag.
I still got 9th, though. So, while I didn't get points, I can still be happy about it. Thank you for following us out. Appreciate it.
Sadly, no points.
But yeah,
today.
we almost caught the points there. It's a good effort. And Paris beat Verstappen. Balance has not been restored.
Hello and welcome.
No points for you, says the Floof. Well, it is fine. The question now is just how many more races can Alonso CRS survive before we need to replace it. That's another 2.5 million that I kind of forgot that we need to deal with. And I'm not looking forward to doing said dealing because financially, I'm in ruin. Financially, I put myself in a terrible position. And this time, I'm gonna send
And green.
Alonso out on all the mediums. Because we are not going to really participate here. Alonso's the only one that we need to kind of just have a lap down here to see if the setup got better or worse. So I'm just going to do it like this. And since we're going to pit lane, as I mentioned, we don't really need to participate in the qualifiers here. The block-on succeeded. Yes, the block-on succeeded indeed. And I'm very, very disappointed in not being able to deal with the block-on. Apparently Verstappen's failure that appeared at the end of the sprint has become a permanent feature of his car. And it is an engine problem, so we could see Verstappen explode during the race. Which would be hilarious. As Tsunoda does a spin. All in all, things are looking kind of good here. Gonna lie. Looking kind of good in the sense that we can't crash in quali. Okay, so I'm taking Gasly with me, flew for your insolence. Funny thing is, I could have knocked Ocon out and then just skipped quali after that, which would be funnier. Sargent, Tsunoda, and Leclerc are going to take penalties. Are we going to have another Ferrari in the pit lane with us scenario here? So that's what's going to happen. The suggested strategy is a medium. There's 2 cars in the pit lane with us. I can tell because we're starting 17th and 18th. Well, they're not necessarily in the pit lane. They could also be starting at the grid, but you get the idea. Okay. Honestly, I think this might actually be for the best. And we just augment it like this. The only difference here, I think, would be that we will still want to burn. This might be the weirdest, most heretical strategy that I've ever done in this game. But I might do a soft into 2 light hards. The only other thing we could do here, because again, we need to kind of play for the undercut. Because we're not overtaking this amount of cars on track. The other thing that we could do here would be something like this. Which wouldn't be horrible either. Gonna allow me to just push on the medium, pit around lap 10. And let's face it, if we try something like what I would usually do, a light soft into medium into another light soft, it's kind of hard to pull off around here. And it is still going to be quite a lot quicker, like 8 seconds or so. So I think having an extra medium is going to be more you guys have? We have 3 mediums. We actually have fewer softs. Yeah, I think saving a medium here is going to be better. So I think we start on softs. We just destroy them completely. We pit early. We try for the undercut. And if we see that it does not work, then we can change our strategy basically then. There and then. Well, 56 laps. Yeah, let's do it like that. There we are. There we go. I'm curious how this is going to play out, because Coda has an insane degradation, but I don't see any better way of doing it like this, unless any of you have any ideas. Hello, Razek. Nice surprise. Currently streaming to both Twitch and YouTube. People have been bugging me to multi-stream, so we're trying it out a little bit. Thank you for the follow. It's honestly the weirdest strategy I've seen. I can imagine, yes. Lawson Kimmy's pole lap to sprint. Really good, honestly. I love seeing him on pole. I would like to see Kimmy break a lot of records. Like having the a new youngest driver break records that say Verstappen has been holding for a while. It's always great. And to be fair, I've never seen Toto prouder than when Antonelli set his pole lap. So it's all, honestly, it's good. It's amazing. Can't complain about Antonelli's lap. Again, I want to see the rookies do well. Antonelli counts as a rookie, even with all the expectations put upon him. So seeing him perform is great, honestly. And hopefully he can keep it up during the sprint too. Get himself a sprint win. We are going to run these components for this race. It's going to suck. But we can start switching in Mexico and that'll be okay. But yeah, we'll try this. It's going to be really, really silly. But we'll see how this goes. See, you're trying to project your floofiness to Ocon. Lock on. So Razzik, since we're starting in the pit lane, we're pushing us off first so we can undercut all the cars ahead. That's literally why we're doing this. That's the only reason why we're destroying a tire immediately. It's just to ensure that we pit before everyone else and can undercut basically off the grid. In Singapore, we undercut a good 10, 12 cars or so to secure 6th and 7th. And that's basically going to be kind of the same thing we're going to try and do here. Well, we didn't secure 6th and 7th. We got 2nd and 7th after the safety car. Would have been 6th and 7th without it, but you get the idea. It's kind of the same thing. Him never having driven, Antonelli having never driven in Miami is mental. Honestly, it makes it more impressive, JVD. That's straight up it. It makes it a lot more impressive. But yeah, we're going to try this. Let's cross our fingers that this is an acceptable strategy.
Here we go. It's the United States Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Lights out, away we go. We actually have Verstappen here with us. Okay, that is kind of funny. Ladies and gentlemen, Verstappen in the pit lane, alongside the two Saubers. I really should just make a podcast called the pit lane, but I'm sure it exists already. It has to. If no one has done that already, then something's wrong with the world. Take out Verstappen on lap 1. Hopefully we can avoid taking Verstappen out. Sargent has taken himself out with a lockup.
Now this, I think, was at turn 13. And there's the lockup. And hopefully there's not too much damage to the tyres.
Straight up, straight out. Easy peasy. Yeah, we're just going to manage our energy, I think, for a while here. I would like to use the energy for undercut, if anything. And Verstappen just sends Gasly to the absolute shadow realm there, which is lovely to see. Yeah, degradation-wise, the hearts shouldn't actually degrade as much as we expect. So I might be able to change the hearts to standard. And it would be hilarious if I could just stay on the hearts for the entire race. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, let's just give a little bit of deploy here. Gonna be fine to just push it right now. And there are cars and all kinds of strategies here. There's just a few soft runners, a lot of medium runners actually, and even a couple of hard runners here. It's gonna make undercutting everyone, like we did in Singapore, a little harder. And honestly, Verstappen is going to be a little bit of a problematic child to deal with, because he's currently stuck ahead of us. There we go. Are we going to get Verstappen too? Not really. Honestly, following Verstappen here is not the worst thing ever, but I would prefer him not being here, because that would definitely make overtaking a little bit easier.
Tires are ready.
Pit window open, lap 4. Let's go. Oh, traditions, everyone. Apparently the block-on is doing a good job holding Verstappen at bay at the moment. Not good news for me. There we go. We got one. Can we get number 2 here? Are we going to beat Verstappen in a straight speed race? We are. Alonso has woken up, and we're going to give Sainz a little bit of deploy to play with. Ocon is up next, and he is losing the gap to cars ahead. We still need to do well on this stint if we can, so we're going to do a little bit of deploy here. Stroll overtakes Ocon. Are we going to do a double? No, we're not even going to get one of them. That's disappointing. And we are soon going to have to do a little bit of harvesting. We are very soon going to have to do a little bit of harvesting here, as we finally sneak past the block on. Just like that. And we even secured DRS. Yeah, at this point, it's time to put him back to neutral. We have 30% left. We would like to keep at least a little bit. And for the most part, everyone is still in just one big train. Sargent and Gasly are falling behind a little bit, but that's fine. We can deal with them once we get to them. But I do need Sainz to just get by the other Alpine car, because Foof's here, and they're both cursed as a result. There we are. Cleared the nuisance. Just like that. But yeah, right now, we're just going to run these softs completely into the ground. And that's really all we need to do here. You can see Magnussen, Leclerc, Danny Rick here. Everyone on a soft tire is kind of doing the exact same thing. We could even see Ocon trying to undercut us here, potentially. So, yeah, we're kind of in a troublesome position. We're going to pit Sainz on this lap. Then we're going to get Alonso in on the next one. So, let us get started and see if we can pull this off. The problem here is going to be the same as we've had earlier. Potentially, the temperature will be a little bit too low, but we shall see. Sainz now comes in the pit lane, and Alonso probably did pick up a fault on his ERS again. Reduced output. That's not great. But the fresh air is definitely going to help too with keeping temperatures at bay. It is a temporary failure. So let's hope that it goes away on its own. And I don't have to buy a new ERS going into Mexico. I would appreciate avoiding that. There we go, pit stops have been cleared. The question here is going to be temperature in the tires. We probably need 100 degrees maybe on these. So, we're still a little bit away, honestly. Sainz now dropping the block on. I love that Floof and Razzik are just bantering in the Twitch chat right now. I really need to figure out how to make both chats one so everyone can participate. That would be a good thing. I need to look into that, but yeah, it is good for sure. It starts in 1.5 hours. We'll have to see if we can do maybe this one and one more race. Maybe Mexico. I think Brazil would be too much to hope for, so let's see how far we get. Temperature-wise, we're just below where we want to be. 100 degrees was in fact correct. So that is a little bit problematic. That's our lap times, however, 41.7. We are quicker than everyone. And we even undercut up to Magnussen at the moment, who I believe was in 8. So the undercut is in effect. But Alonso, again, having less output is a problem. So there we go. It's no longer a problem. It went away magically. That output issue has been solved. And if our boys can go back and forth cleanly, we should be able to close the gap a little bit to cars ahead. Right now, we're not really running any faster than them. Some are even quicker than us. So we do need to deal with this problem one way or another. And I think the way that I'm going to deal with it right now is to give Alonso a little bit of the deploy. And if Sainz overtakes here, we're going to do the opposite. We can give Sainz the deploy. And basically, we're just going to have them use energy here to keep pace up. Yes, he has a pit stop issue. Let's celebrate.
What's happened?
Could I have a visual chat? That might be a good idea, yeah, Floof. I might need to incorporate that. Could probably place it up here or something. That wouldn't be a terrible idea. But yeah, currently we are going to try and use a little bit of energy here to push ahead. And yes, both Ocon and Gasly are towards the back because both of them have pitted. Both of them have indeed pitted immediately. I'll get next. Honestly, it should be a pretty straightforward problem to deal with, all things considered. It's the slower of the Ferraris, which is a wild sentence on its own, but not wrong by any means of the imagination. And we actually managed to keep Alonso going by 2. And I think this is when we're going to go neutral on Sainz. We're going to allow Alonso to get the overtake done in the DRS zone. And as you can see, we're running 42s. We're running a lot quicker than cars ahead. And if we keep this up for a couple more laps, we might even get within the window of the podium cars, because pit stops around here take 21 seconds. We're still going to need to get a lot of time then, but still. Could we get up to Perez? Potentially. We're getting 2-3 seconds a lap, 4 more laps of this, and we could get there. Alonso now, we're going to have him switch to deploy, have him do the pulling, while Sainz kind of recharged a little bit behind the top up. And we're basically just going to do this for as many laps as we can as Perez actually pits and ruins all of my plans. You have not seen the last of Block-On and Defensely. I think I have. They are a pit stop behind me. Almost. So I think I've seen the last of Block-On and Defensely unless they have an incident. How get overtaking Sainz was not on my bingo card. That's actually a bit of a problem. That is actually quite the issue there. I need to deploy a little bit for Sainz here because he is losing out. Is Hauger just going full push right now? Hauger is on fresh hards. He actually has better tires than we do. Being a problematic child at the moment. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of cars start to pit right now. Leclerc with a pit stop issue. We have a yellow flag. It's Alonso and it's Sargent. Okay. I was worried there for a second that Alonso and Hauger had a moment. As long as that didn't happen, I think I can be, you know, satisfied. Unfortunately, Hauger has thrown the wrench in my plan to have them switch back and forth, so we're just going to push here and try and get away from Hauger. I think it's going to be the play. Hauger's a rookie, very likely to just take me out if I don't get away from him. So for Alonso, deploying is going to be the name of the game. And ahead of us, the only car that has pitted is Perez. And we are going to catch Russell when he pits. Russell comes in the pit lane, Hamilton comes into the pit lane. I think we are seeing a classic double stack causing some mayhem. And let's see it now. Alonso should beat Russell out. Sainz is going to be pretty close, all things considered. Gets to the back of him, but not past him. And with that, we're already kind of back into a fight here for a good result, really. But I don't think we can be too unhappy with this strategy so far. Gonna have to put Alonso to neutral right now, and we haven't really been able to give Hauger the slip, which is an issue. Norris, Piastri, they're both pitting here. Can Alonso beat Piastri out? I don't think so. We're close, however, so it's not all bad. But yeah, right now it's just managing these tires and trying to keep up. Hauger being with Alonso like he is right now, it's not good for us. And Norris and Piastri, both McLaren drivers went for soft tires. That is an interesting choice. Let's just put it like that. Now, with Alonso here, we could probably recharge. But on the plus side, we can actually cause some grief here for Russell. Because Russell is on medium tires. They're fresh. But with two cars kind of acting as a shield, he's going to have a hard time getting the overtake done. As Sainz does lose that position into Hamilton. But let's face it, not much he can do. He does not have as good a car as Alonso does around this place. Remember, Alonso has upgrades that Sainz just do not have at the moment. Sargent's just trying to survive? Well, I don't think he's doing a good job at it. I think he might get in trouble. I'm going to deploy a little bit with Alonso here to make sure we don't lose Hauger, which is a weird sentence. And for Sainz right now, getting overtaken by Verstappen is not going to be the end of the world, but it's also not great. So, it is what it is. We actually had more degradation here for Sainz than we expected. And that is a bit of an issue here. And Alonso even is struggling to catch Hauger. What is this? Hauger's not necessarily using any more tire than we are. He's just pulling away. Russell being a scary threat behind is apparently enough that we just aren't able to catch the Ferrari. I think the Red Bull cars are supposed to be the other way around. Well, considering Verstappen started in the pit lane and he's just 21 seconds behind Perez, I think it is so far rather realistic. By lap 24. The question is just how things are going to look by the end of this race. That's going to be the big one. But yeah, Alonso right now is losing out a little bit. There's just no way around that. But to be fair, we have managed these tires pretty well. So with 7 laps into pit stop, we could start pushing a little bit. As Magnussen does do a little bit of a Spinderella move. The thing here is we can actually start pushing these tires a little bit. We could go full attack here and, you know, gamble on the undercut. The problem would be traffic. There's no good windows really to come out in here. We could come out where Hulkenberg is right now. That's not going to be a good place either. Like, nowhere here is a good place. Magnussen is going to pit, so honestly, right now there is a good window for us. I just don't think we can take advantage of it. But even then, I think the correct choice here now is just to burn these hard tires. We're going to start using them a little bit. And see if we get an incident before we do pit. See, you should have seen this coming, Nero. Dennis starts with a DE. Like, defend him. Well, you should have seen this one coming, Floof. A double stack. It was pretty good, though, so at least it's not the worst thing ever. But Alpine definitely do respond to your taunts immediately in this game. Also now, I guess past Hauger, and honestly should have no problem dispatching Russell now as we are pushing. And I think we'll be fine with doing this until we do pit. I don't think it necessarily is going to be a big issue. Come on, Floof, do your thing. We need a safety car. I would be very, very happy if we got a safety car right now. I'm not going to lie. It would be a good thing for us.
Tires are ready.
It would not be a bad thing to have a safety car cause some mayhem right now in this race. As long as we are not the source of that safety car. I would love the source of that safety car to be an Alpine. But yeah, I would like to request that we are not the source of the safety car. Can we leave Russell behind here? Almost. I would like to not have the arrest of Russell while we're pushing. If possible. With the arrest we were given from Sargent there, it's actually a gap now being formed, which is great. But we're going to be pitting fairly soon, so it won't really matter too much. Where is Sainz going to come out? He's basically going to come out where Hulkenberg is. And Hulkenberg is going to be slow. Like, all these cars are going to pit fairly soon. So, not a bad idea to just get him in here. And get onto better, bigger and better things. Well, better tires, at least. For Alonso, we're going to do probably 1, maybe even 2 more laps on these tires. And for Sainz now, he's going to get past Hauger. Hauger's definitely been falling backwards here, as his tires have been dying. Did Magnussen pit for used meds, or did he just eat them? So, Magnussen is at 61% here. Let's check what he did. So, Magnussen, tire history. He's been on those mediums for 5 laps, so he's either gone to use mediums or he's been eating them like nobody's business. Gasly is basically on 1 lap less use medium, so I think what we're seeing here is the AI doing a classic case of a full send. And the tire temp says no, that's not what's going on here, but they're losing 5-6% a lap. He must have done something special here. He lost, well, 7%. But yeah, mediums are losing 6% a lap here in terms of durability. And To be fair, the softs do too, so he's probably just going full attack, I think. Well, at least aggressive. So there is a reason why he's suffering. Let's see if Science can beat Hulkenberg up out here. Get a little bit of fresh air. Hulkenberg is now coming down the straight, and we do in fact beat him out. With that, we've acquired fresh air. Actually, a pretty decent window to go out in, as Tsunoda has acquired a mechanical failure. Now, when we pit, Alonso is going to come up basically where Tsunoda is. Tsunoda and Hauge. Hauge should be pitting very soon, so that shouldn't be a huge problem. But I think we are going to take the opportunity to pit Alonso here on the following lap, as it turns out. That should be okay. With that in mind, for Sainz here, it is going to take probably a little bit of time to get temperature into those tires. That's fine. We're going to be a little bit slow in the first couple laps here, but actually having tires to fight with towards the end is going to be more important than anything. He's going for the mighty tree stopper, yes. Kimi's first sprint pole. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Kimi does in the sprint today, David. Really. I'm really looking forward to seeing his performance. As we have a clean stop. And do we beat Tsunoda out? No. Hauge did pit, however, so he's no longer a problem. And honestly, being behind one car that has a 10-second gap out front on the route lap is not a bad thing. It basically just means that we can heat up our tires a little bit easier by basically staying in the dirty air of Tsunoda. So it does actually work out to our advantage, which sounds silly, but it is the truth. We're also still basically in for a potential top 3 finish here, if we can catch Piastri. And that's a big if. Yellow flag, Magnussen, Ocon. Safety car. That is terrible timing.
I cannot believe it.
Magnussen and Ocon are both out. Oh, I missed it, but yeah. That is horrible timing.
Also, if you can weave in the straight or weave
Horrible timing. We did not beat Tsunoda out there. That is very unfortunate. Are they going to go mediums till the end, though? That sounds like a bit of a stretch. Ocon there is sabotaging us at the moment. Alonso should be able to beat Verstappen out, I think. And Russell and Hamilton are kind of double stacking here. Anyone having a slow stop is going to hurt a ton. Yeah, we're not beating Verstappen out. We might not even beat the Mercedes out here. We beat one. That's a insane save from the block on. But yeah. Pitting under a pit stop here saves you another 3 seconds. That's basically the difference between us being up here ahead of Verstappen and being 6th. That tosses a bit of a wrench in the plans, but 20 laps on the mediums, considering just how badly the AI has mutilated them so far this race, I don't think that's going to work out for them. They're of course going to try and stretch them, but they're going to be absolutely goo by the end of this. So managing the hards is probably going to be the correct choice here. The only other hard runner is Perez. So yeah, this is gonna be really interesting just to see if they mutilate their tires or not. Really, I can't lie. I don't think Sainz is scoring points there. And then Block-on explodes. Yes, Block-on did get penalized for the attack too. So yeah. I do love the Alpine jinx that is going on here for Floof. Sergeant starts with running wide on the restart. Are you joking?
No! Why'd they go?
Oh, that's kind of funny. I should probably have focused a little bit more on the restart itself. We're going to go ahead and deploy. Gonna push fuel a little bit, probably down to 0.3, 0.5 maybe. But yeah, that's a bit unfortunate that I lost out a little bit there. But we're getting it back, so I'm not too worried. We should at least be getting that back fairly easily. I still think playing the long con here, the long game of managing these hards is going to pay off more than doing anything aggressive with them. 15 laps is what the AI has to survive in those mediums. That is going to be a little bit problematic for them, I think. It is still just one big DRS train, however. Just one big DRS train at the moment. Feinstein gets Tsunoda. That is one more position. I do need to catch Paris and Verstappen right now, and honestly, losing a position to Hamilton is hurting me a little bit right now. We also have Leclerc right behind us. Gaslow, okay. Listen here, Edstein. You even shit talk the wrong person, Blue. What the heck? I love that you immediately thought it was Edstein that said it too. That is beautiful. You immediately get upset at the wrong person. That is beautiful. Okay, Sainz is struggling to catch up, but again, Sainz does not have a car that is... Again, we need to give him some better components. And for Alonso here, the two Mercs are just being a little bit too problematic to deal with right now. Might be better to do a little bit of topping up. Sainz should be fine here as long as he can stay with Tsunoda somehow. Do a little bit of push here to ensure that we do. And for Alonso, recharging while staying with the Mercs is acceptable. It's still podium range position. Right now, though, the Mercs are making that a little bit difficult. A little bit problematic here, as they're just going back and forth, running side by side. Like, the Mercedes drivers there are going to take each other out at this rate. That's going to be the second safety car. Second safety car is going to be a Mercedes sandwich. Okay, it is time to deploy, however. Let's see if we can get by. There's a little bit of a gap between them. I say as they immediately go side by side again. Choose the correct car to follow, Alonso. That's all I ask of you. As long as you follow the correct car, you should get by. Tsunoda and Sainz switching position back and forth. That's just how life is going right now. It is 10 laps to go here. I think we are just gonna have to do a little bit of harvesting. It is very easy for us to lose the gap though to Mercedes here. Like drop outside of DRS due to what they're doing. I'm gonna have to manage it a little bit. Tire-wise, we are building an advantage. It's just going our way. The more laps that go. But the problem is Hamilton has a gap, Perez has a gap. And as those gaps get wider, it's gonna get more and more difficult to get involved, really. And that sucks. That is going to make life a lot harder than it needs to be. There you go, Alonso. Russell dispatched. Just like that. But he might come back here. Nope. In fact, Leclerc just also joins the dispatching squad. With us being second in train, I am feeling confident enough to do a little bit of harvesting. And we kind of need to. If I can just get full battery here, I can chase down Perez. And then by extension, I think I can chase down Verstappen. Although Running harvest while being ahead is not a good thing. Running harvest while behind and taking advantage of DRS is. So we'll put back to neutral here. Or we try and chase down the Red Bulls. Let's see if we can get this done. Apparently someone is spamming me on Discord. Sorry, give me a sec. Okay. I'll respond to that after the stream. Apologies. Along Smash, you want to investigate Hamilton's rear wing. I feel like that is a recipe for getting in trouble. Right now, I don't mind allowing Hamilton to go. I love that order you to recharge and you immediately go full send. Okay. I think I can go full send now. I think I have to go full send now. 7 laps to go, 50% usable tire. I think it is possible if we can get away from Hamilton. Ghastly mechanical fault. Take that, Floof. But yeah, we'll have to just pay attention to how quickly we degrade here. But looking at this versus this, going full attack should be no problem. And we're already chasing down Paris at the moment. Let's see how this lap squares up compared to Paris's last. It is 2.5 seconds quicker. And it is 1.5 seconds quicker than Norris. 1.3 seconds quicker than Verstappen. So it is definitely paying off, and we're going to be within DRS of Paris on this lap. Straight up. And with that, we should probably give Sainz the same order here to potentially catch both Mercedes guys. Boys. Lads, if you will. Do a little bit of deploy too to just catch up to them. As Alonso gets Paris here. 4 seconds now to Verstappen. 6 laps. We should be able to push this car hard enough that we'll catch him. It's going to be a lot harder to catch a McLaren drivers, though. I don't think that happens. Catching Verstappen is definitely possible. And he doesn't really have any tire to play with. Sainz, what are you doing?
You try everything.
Here's the replay. Heading down the straight.
Why did you learn to drive from Sargent here?
Oh, and the car locks up. By that point, it was...
That's disappointing. That's potentially money
This is
in
what happened. Now,
garbage
we're watching
can.
Carlos
We
Sainz.
already seen it. Thank you, game. Yeah, 16th. That is painful. That is painful. Lost 7 positions. And how many seconds? 10 seconds in that lockup? That's a slow recovery. That's very unfortunate. Those of us, though, we're gaining 1.5 seconds on Verstappen a lap, so 2 laps and we catch him. And we're getting a second on Piastri, so we might even get involved in that fight in the near future. So I'm just going to deploy a little bit here to get away from Paris. And try and catch and overtake Verstappen a little bit quicker. Yeah, unfortunately for Sainz, he is basically out of this race for us. It is an unfortunate moment. For once, Floof gets a little bit of a helping hand here for his sins. Very tragic for us, but it's just how things are. Alonso has caught up to Verstappen here. We need to clear him quickly. That's going to be the name of the game. And honestly, we do not need to deploy right now, right behind him. We just need to get by him. And we do. Push him off track too, for good measure. DRS is in, well, our hands at the moment. And with that, we're now just 3 seconds behind both Piastri and Norris. And considering that they were a good 2 seconds slower last lap, it's very promising that we might be able to get into the fight for the win here. Maybe deploy for science? Probably should. Not a bad idea. At least he'll get some overtaking done if we do deploy. And for Alonso here, I can see a couple of McLarens up ahead. Are we going to get another win here, maybe? Three laps to go. Honestly, if I recharge the battery here while we're behind them, manage my tires a little bit better, then I think we can make something happen here. Problem is going to be to just get by one. But I wouldn't be too worried about it. We've already harvested the maximum amount. Maybe I should be a little bit worried about it. Science gets Tsunoda, Albon, and Show are the next problem children, although we used the entire battery already. With 2 laps remaining here, I'm still just going to keep on full sending it. Science's tires are going to be a little bit destroyed by the end of this, but I think it's worth it. And Flew, for all his sins now, Gasly has a major fault on his car. Fully deserved, and with 2 laps to go here, it's just go full deploy here for Alonso. Battery full. Let's take advantage of that. Go full deploy. And Gasly's just so much quicker than us in a straight line. Did you see that? But yeah, we should be able to put enough pressure on one of the McLarens so we can get the overtake done. And hopefully we can get the second one in quick succession here. Push Carlos. Carlos is pushing all he can. As Alonso gets by Piastri. We need a little bit of battery in the tank here, is the thing, because if you go all the way to 0, you lose so much acceleration for the car.
It's a good stint so far.
And Sargent has exploded.
Norris ahead of you.
Please don't cause a safety car, Sergeant. At least wait until I overtake Norris before you do. That's all I ask of you. While pushing fuel is also something we could do, it is kind of risky because I can forget to not push fuel. And come on now. Come on, Alonso. Don't allow them to screw you over like they did last time. Good job. Gets that done easily. And for Sainz now, he's 13th. I think he needs 14th to get paid money. We used the entire battery of Alonso. He crossed the line in first. I'm going to put Sainz into balance just to be on the safe side so that he actually finishes. But yeah, Alonso wins, even with a safety car that kind of screwed us over a little bit. It might actually have helped us, I'm not going to lie. That safety car might actually turn out to help us a ton. Purely due to the fact that it forced the air over to medium tires, and that probably slowed them down a ton. I'm not going to lie.
Really solid race.
Hello, Bernhola. Or Benhola, sorry. You did in fact find me, yes. Appreciate that. Thank you for the follow.
Some pickup if you can.
Bluff is claiming hacks with that win. Matt Lepetate. Wait, I did push Carlos, yeah. I misunderstood. I thought you meant the ERS, not the fuel. Yeah, Alonso wins. Just like that. And we're still not going to get the title or anything, but it's a feel-good moment, so we'll take it. Thank you for following, Edray. Appreciate it. Oh, wait, you beat my agents of defense. They've been beaten soundly, Floof. You just have to, we'll just have to live with it, as it turns out. Just research complete, but honestly, I can't really start another research, and the reason for it is incredibly simple. Money, because we only have 2 million in the bank, and by the time we get to Brazil, I'm definitely going to need to buy Alonso here a new ERS. I'm not getting around that anytime soon, so yeah, we'll have to deal with that in the near future. But we're gonna head to Mexico. That is probably going to be our final race of today before the real life sprint race begins. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, as you say, Razak, the AI kind of beat themselves there by going for a medium under the safety car. Made them kind of sitting ducks, which I'm very happy about, not gonna lie. Base targets 16th or higher, then 15th or higher. I don't know if I agree with the estimations here or how good our car is, because we generally do beat that, but I'll take it. It's free money. And I just want to check here. Do I have any new components here for science? I do not. We'll have to wait for Brazil to get anything new on the car, hopefully. Now, I think this is the race where we're going to put in the last, I was about to say energy cell. Last engine. And then the gearbox. So we're just going to stick with what we have in the car right now for practice. The only exception is that we're going to destroy this ERS of science. That is fine. And Alonso doesn't have an extra ERS. So I think we're just going to have to stick with what we've already put in the car. And that is a big yes. That's terrible, but underfueling strong. Underfueling is strong, yes, Razak, but I think it's also a combination of just cornering being very, very important for the cars, straight up. And the overall doesn't really, I think, weigh what is strong and what isn't strong properly in the car estimations, if that makes sense. Okay, we're going to use fresh components here. For Mexico, there aren't that many races remaining of the season, so time to break the seal on the final set here. And then we'll pray, of course, that we don't crash immediately, because that would make me kind of sad, not gonna lie. Okay. This looks pretty good, honestly. And we're gonna, of course, send the cars out in Q1 once, just so we can see if the setup is the correct one. Basically. Soft tires is basically all we can use here. And with that, we are gonna just send both Sainz and Alonso out for a very chill reconnaissance lap. Well, a couple of reconnaissance laps, really. Tsunoda is still driving around with damage. They are clearly not a fan of the Noda here. Ocon gas to crash lap 1, please. Is what Razak is wishing for. I think that would make Fluke very, very sad. I don't know if we want to see that. Yeah, Tsunoda with a damaged car right now is still on pole. Well, I jinxed it, of course, but he held it for a very, very long time, I feel. Sargent, Gasly, and Hulkenberg are currently in danger alongside us. Let's see if that changes. Ocon gets out of there. Magnussen, Hulk, Sargent. Who's going to come out on top? And unfortunately, both Alpine survived by the looks of it. This is a tragedy of epic proportions. And of course, I was wrong, and Gasly did get pushed down. But yeah. Let's see how the final race of today, for me at least, goes. '99 and 97. So basically, I missed out on that, maybe? Which is good, it puts me in pit lane. And we're almost there. Oh. Has to be this. That. See if this gives me 100% on Alonso 2. Can't really check it because we'll be in the race, but I think it's good enough. Now, you all kind of come to a conclusion already what the strategy is going to be. We go full send on the first soft tire, and then we manage the other 2 tires. That's literally what the pit lane challenge is in terms of strategy. The question here is this going to work? It's going to be a good 10 seconds slower than anything else. Can I do anything? Can I do something stupid? It's currently what is brewing. The fact that degradation is so high on the medium that I can't do this is kind of funny. I could do this. And considering they're equal in race time and this one has a little bit more to go on, I think this just is going to be our best option if we're going to burn a tire immediately. So that is just how it's going to go then. Let's put these guys on slightly different strategies because Mexico, safety cars happen. So let's put you on alternate. One goes medium, one goes hard. That way both cars doesn't get screwed over. And I think that is a acceptable way to do things. A decent enough way to get it done. Unless anyone has any suggestions here. I'm being told that it's currently raining in Miami. And with the sprint race just being 45 minutes away, that is actually kind of good news. Full attack and 2 hards? It would be a good idea, but I don't have 2 hards. I only have 1. I do have 2 mediums, however, but yeah, don't have 2 hards. I would have had to manage practice for that, which unfortunately I didn't do. So that just does not really work out for me, I guess you could say, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I think it's fine. We're going to try this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it works, great. This season has kind of turned into a test season now where we are testing what works and doesn't work. And then we'll go ahead and actually try and take the title next year. Worst case scenario, we take in the big regulation change season. Paris on pole at home, though, is cinema. And the Red Bulls immediately take a 1-2 here ahead of the McLarens. That didn't last very long, though. Unless Verstappen here can hold him off in the corner. Push Piastri a little bit wide. But yeah, Paris on the soft tire. Definitely looking for a good start. And we even have a Hulkenberg here on a hard tire. So most cars are going to be pitting fairly early here. A lot of soft runners. I think this strategy of ours is going to work out the best we can hope for, really. Which doesn't say much. But it's yeah, it's the best we can do here. As we have Alonso already trying to start on the overtakes, and Ocon eats a mechanical fault before lap 1 even finishes. Unfortunately, because I was gleeful, Alonso hit the NOS button there and just flew past. That was kind of nuts right there. But yeah, Ocon with a initial mechanical failure here to contend with. I manually do practice for you. Okay, that's kind of funny, Floof, to be fair. Send you the save you to practice for me. Alonso is doing a good job here. Sainz is also doing a good job even without using energy. So I think I'll just keep both of them at neutral for the time being. One Alpine has been dealt with. The second Alpine is up ahead. And there we go. Alonso gets by. Sainz has Hulkenberg to contend with, which is on hard tires. That should be a pretty slam dunk pass, I'm not going to lie. That should be a pretty simple way to get by here. Temperature-wise, 120 degrees is the maximum that we can afford to go on these tires. And look at the gap that's already formed there with Albon and Show. 3 seconds. Something has happened there that I have not seen, because that is a lot of time lost very, very quickly. That's right now. Remember, Sainz is still on the bad car spec, so to speak, so he still needs. We still need to give him the upgrades. Charles, what have you done, Charles?
The wheels just lock up there. Now they did leave it very late.
Honestly, he didn't hit the wall, so 10 out of 10. Minimize damage right there. Once again, I see a Ferrari right in front of Alonso. This is starting to become a very, very common sight, and one I'm not very fond of. Would be fun to do a no fresh tire. Rasike is suggesting that we play practice manually, use every tire a little bit to spice up the
Get ready.
spice up the races. Interestingly enough, the gradation on the softs here is lower than anticipated, so I can only imagine the hards and the mediums will be more of the same, really. Which is not going to be a terrible thing then. And honestly, Alonso is just kind of cutting through the field at the moment. Gonna give both of our boys a little bit of deploy here. And immediately Alonso gets another pass down. Peak confidence acquired by both of them. Alonso has found himself back into the points here. But it's just, again, just the DRS train is making this pretty impossible to deal with, really. So for now, we'll allow Sainz to push a little bit with his ERS. And then we'll slow him down. There you go. Close the gap now to the cars ahead. Get back in DRS, Sainz. Don't be a problem, Stroll. Please. Work with me here. Get back in DRS. The funny thing is, we're still losing to the cars out front. It shows you just how important the cars actually are here. As Alonso now up into top 7. Just 11 seconds behind the leader. This could be very interesting here. Hello, Mind. Yes, I'm still streaming. I'm going to be streaming this race, and then I'm going to end. And probably prepare some food for the Miami Sprint. Plan was always to stream until the race began, basically, or the sprint race. Yellow flag. Who has had their little incident right now? It's Verstappen. Hey Nero, can we check the constructor standings? I want to remind Ferrari fans how washed they are. How washed the Ferrari fans are here. Well, they're currently 4th. So, I don't know if the Alpine fans should be yelling too loudly. They're just 2 points ahead of Haas. All things considered in this one. What's my sprint race predictions? I honestly don't know, Mind. I haven't had time to look at the practice or even just sprint qualifying. So, I'm just hoping that Antonelli can keep and get a good performance out here. Maybe take the win in the sprint race. I think that would be amazing. And honestly, I would just... It's not really a prediction, it's more than a hope. But I would like to see Antonelli do well. I think that would be good for his future confidence. Max spinning, less realistic than F124. Well, Max getting a mechanical failure is basically Australia with the brakes exploding. Tsunoda's failure has evolved to a major one. That's not good for him. And we'll have Alonso do one more lap here before he pits. Sainz will be coming in on this lap. Rasek is hoping for an Antonelli Piastri 1-2. And Floof, on the other hand, is just happy that it's raining in Miami right now, because that means Alpine's boats are going to perform well. No matter who you're a fan of, the Alpine both meme will always be funny. Mind here is worried about Kimi having a bad start. I mean, it could happen, to be fair. Like, the pressure could get to him, that sort of deal. Could also be what they're currently theorizing, one of the reasons why Norris has terrible pole. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but one of the theories about why does Norris have such terrible pole to, like, lead. Why does Norris lose out on positions on lap 1 when he starts on pole so often? It's because he doesn't have another car in front of him to kind of keep an eye on, to help him react, basically. Which kind of is interesting, but that theory does have some merit, but you would assume a driver would be looking at the lights. I guess you could also assume Antonelli might have a similar issue, but honestly, I just hope that he nails the start. It would be amazing if he did. But yeah, we've done our first pit stops here. Everyone else is around 40 to 60% tire, so it won't be long until day pit 2. The question is now going to be, how can we bring these tires up to temperature? Mexico has generally been a place where it's difficult to bring tires up to temperature, so we'll have to see if we can do some undercutting here, or if it's going to be a little bit too difficult for us. We will see. For sure, I just saw the post from Red Bull Racing.
Tires are still coming up.
Help me with tire temperature. I'll bring you a tire blanket, Science. But yeah, Science here. This is kind of what I was worried about. We are 5 degrees under where we need to be. That is too much. And that kind of means that we have to adjust our strategy here. Because 5 degrees, you lose a lot of time with 5 degrees. 1 to 2 is okay. You're still going to be losing about a 10 or so a lap. But over the course of a race, that's okay. You'll get that back with the tires. The 5 degree one is a little bit worse to deal with. Makes me want to consider changing up the strategy a little bit here. Particularly for Science, because Science has another medium tire. Which means we could do something like this. And it is actually going to be quicker than what we're doing right now. It does carry the risk of an extra pit stop, however, which is the problem. What can I do for Alonso? Alonso does not have that same benefit, if you will. We can do this. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think we might need to get a soft tire in here. Do something like this, maybe. Even go full attack on this hard tire. Go full sand ×2. Could work. As you can see, it is quicker than doing this. So I think we do this just to ensure that we have enough tire temp. And we did kind of see that this is something that we could do if needed at the start of this race. But yeah, 95 degrees below is a little bit too much, and it seems to have stabilized here, which is a problem. It is a little bit of an issue. Maybe attack for 1 lap. The temperature is still going to go back down after I go, conserve. It would also be a lot of micromanagement. So we'll just switch to a strategy like this. Ransec, that will work out just fine. It's an extra stop that carries some risk, but it's a risk that I'm willing to take. So I'm going to give this a go. Hamilton with the major mechanical fault is also going to work out perfectly in our favor.
Keep warming your tires.
Hello Nero, how are you today? I'm good, Lando, how are you doing? I am looking forward to sprint race, and currently just doing my own little thing with streaming a little bit. Feels good to be back and actually doing something other than just being tired all the time, which is good. But yeah, we'll have to see how this strategy works. Alonso's going to be very aggressive. And well, that is going to help with keeping confidence up, which is in turn going to ensure that he stays at basically peak in terms of pace. It does carry the risk that I need to do a lot of overtakes. And that is a problem for a whole different reason, as you can imagine. My internet starts trash. I doubt I'd be able to watch the sprint. at present. That's a little bit unfortunate. I don't know if the... Are you watching F1 TV? Are you able to turn down the quality there? But yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate in mind. I'm good. Bit tired. Floof Lando is reporting on his marathon here. I'm good. Bit tired from having to run because Floof kept him having incidents. For those of you who are unaware, Ocon now with a major failure here. But sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. When we did the Viewer Championship, Floof had a bit of an interesting build because he had a trait that put his control to 0. And Lando Norris here in chat, I don't know if it's a real one, maybe not, we don't know, went ahead and told us that for every incident Floof had, he would run a kilometer, basically. And Floof ended up with so many incidents over an 8-race season that Lando here has basically run a marathon, which we all applaud him for. The the enthusiasm and the fun that brought was massive, so I appreciate that, Lando. Make sure you rest up, just run, you know, as little or as much as you feel like. I will not pressure you to finish it because I know you will do it anyways. But yeah, Cosby, I think, is offering to do something a little bit similar this next Driver Championship, so we'll see what that happens if anyone else signs up for the Floof Marathon. Alonso is struggling with getting overtakes done, which is one of the concerns with doing a bunch of aggressive stops. And this is going to suck a little bit, I think. Floof must be preparing a message to all of us after Alpine keeps up this streak of randomly showing up on the podium once a season. Floof, the funny thing about that mind is Floof missed the Brazil race last year where the Alpines did great. That's the thing. Floof needs to not be around for the Alpine to be able to take advantage of a good streak. Which sounds weird, but it's just the truth. So yeah, if it rains in Miami today and Floof's internet craps out so he can't watch, then yeah, we're definitely seeing Alpine on the podium. Yeah, we are struggling right now. We are getting kind of stuck in traffic, and that is bad. Stroll here doing Stroll things is not what we need to see. That's some crazy bad luck. Yeah. Mine feels for you, Floof, that you missed the Brazil race last year. But it's literally just the Floof curse. There's a reason why we call it the Floof curse. Hello, Adre. Does tire temp affect lap times in the game? So, as we push Russell aside here for Alonso to get a little bit of work done, if we take a look at the tires here, just going to go over this real quick again. But basically here, the tire temp, currently we are overheating. And you might think that overheating is a bad thing. It really isn't, as long as you stay within this window. So, in this case, we're overheating 122 degrees, but you don't really need to worry about it because we are under 130. It is if you go above this number, and that number is very different depending on which tire you have on. As you can see, the mediums is 125, the hards is 130, and this also differs from track to track. But as long as you don't go over the maximum tire temp, tire temperature does not affect lap time too much. The only thing that would be problematic is if you go below, if you get the blue temps. Being on the limit, basically 1 or 2 degrees below the white temps, is okay. But if you're 5 to 10 degrees below, I would probably run the tires a little bit more aggressively instead, because then that's when you actually start losing a lot of lap time. So tire temp is important, but in terms of overheating, don't worry about it unless you go over this. And apart from that, you'll be fine. You can even see that we are overheating our tires right now, but the gradation it's actually less than expected. So as long as degradation is less than expected on this right here, you don't really have anything to worry about when it comes to your tire temperatures. Wouldn't tire wear be higher? Yes, generally the higher temperature, the higher the wear. That's why I'm telling you that when you are pushing your tires and the temperature goes up, take a look at this. If it is, as you're seeing here, with the tire wear being lower than expected, then you can push more aggressively. If this was, say, below the expected tire wear, you would have to go back to, say, aggressive or even standard, and just kind of manage based on the expected tire wear. Would be a good would be my advice in terms of managing it. As long as you, as I said here, it's not a problem running overheat as long as you don't go over the maximum limit. It's not a problem running cold if it's just a couple of degrees. But again, it's going to be very dependent on the situation. In this case, overheating these tires will probably be fine. We're actually 10 degrees below where we should be. Can't really put any more temperature in the tires, however, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, generally pushing, nothing you need to worry about as long as you don't go over the maximum temp. And in terms of being too cold, try and just be around the, you know, where it starts to switch from cold to normal temperature. Who's my favorite team driver? Honestly, I said this a lot on stream, but I flip-flop a lot. I was hoping, really wanted to see Piastri do well last year. I want to see him do well this year too. But honestly, I want to see Hadjar. I want to see Bortoletto. I want to see Antonelli perform well. I want to see the rookies have a good year. If that makes sense. I would love to see that. So I flip-flop a lot between who gives me the most entertainment, really. I watched a lot of your videos this past few weeks. It helped me a lot in the game, but I don't understand the avoid high-risk curves video. So, avoid high-risk curves is something that we can tell our drivers here, and generally the way that it works is actually pretty straightforward. It gives less powertrain wear, it gives less tire wear, and it lowers the risk of puncture. Basically, you trade these three effects for being slower over the course of a full lap. Now, in previous editions of the game, avoid high-risk curves was so powerful on your tire wear that even though you were slower, the saved tire wear over a whole stint meant that you were still going to be quicker than if you didn't use it. It is still fairly powerful in 24, but not nearly as powerful as it used to be. So it can be situationally useful. I don't really use this at all, really, because I don't feel the need. But avoid high-risk curbs is basically just you're telling your driver to not drive over the curbs. They take, you know, a little bit of a safer cornering, and as a result of that, the powertrain doesn't need to rattle over curbs, sausage curbs. You get the idea. Tires are being handled a little bit more gently. The risk of puncture doesn't really matter. Let's be honest, you can't puncture unless you're below 20% in your tires, anyways. And because you are not doing the optimal racing line, you're going to be slower. So it can be situationally useful. Wouldn't we recommend it, though, unless you really need to save your powertrain, for instance. Would probably be a very good idea to put on in, say, practice. But in the race themselves, doesn't really have much of an effect that I would really use, as we bully Perez wide there. Alonso now, up into third. And honestly, I'd say we're in an okay position right now. I think we are very happy where we are at. You are honestly an honest F1 fan. What is this phrasing? I know my phrasing sucks. Hello Talan, I'm glad you enjoy my videos. Thank you. Got 25 minutes. Why won't I do some 16x? I probably should. And just as you say that, Charles Leclerc, the place where he locked up earlier, he has crashed with a virtual safety car.
And stay positive. Copy.
Leclerc has bended on his way to the grid. For real? Because he's just bended in the race too, Edster. Sprint race is in 23 minutes, mind, yes.
And they'll have to pick themselves up after that.
Did it? Oh. Are they going to be able to fix it then? I know they fixed Verstappen's car in, I think it was Hungary. How bad's the damage, Esther? Ferrari crashing. I remember seeing this at some point. But yeah, Esther, how bad's the damage? Pit Alonso? I think we're staying out. The thing here is virtual safety cars doesn't really save you that much time. 5 seconds is a lot of time around here, I'm not gonna lie. But I think I can make up more than 5 seconds by just having better tires towards the end. And if I pit Alonso now, he might actually be onto something, but it's a little bit too late because I've already gone around. Let's go around another lap and then think about it, because it might not be a bad idea. You might be cooking with your idea here. Science too, but he would need to be Gasly out for it to really matter. And that just isn't happening. Virtual safety car is still in action here. Okay, what happens if I do this? We would save time. You're not wrong. You might actually be onto something right here. Saving 5 seconds for Alonso. We get out. Basically here, behind signs. Before the head of show. It wouldn't be a bad idea, honestly mind. Cost damage, Tsunoda. Leclerc's car has apparently... He has apparently crashed on his way to the grid for the sprint, is what I'm being told. Mind. Why don't I recharge the battery? Because they will automatically recharge the battery during virtual safety cars. But the AI also has a tendency, Europhonia, to drop time to the car ahead if you put it on recharge during virtual safety cars. So I just don't like to do that. Apparently, what I'm being told is Leclerc is out of the sprint. I might need to just speed through this race and take a look at that, because that sounds interesting. If he hasn't crashed, one of his components has definitely gone bang bang. That's poor timing on the virtual safety car there. That's my fault.
Okay.
Can we beat show out is going to be the big question here. I say just about. Why are you letting them by, Alonso? Crap. Yeah, that was my fault. If I'd gone for your call there, mind, a little bit earlier, we would have been out ahead of Show and Albon. So you were correct. It was actually a brilliant move to pit Alonso when you said, but I was a lap late and we lost a lot of time from it, which is unfortunate. How bad is the damage? I'm being told he is out straight up. So they're apparently bringing a crane and he was parked to the side of the road. So yeah, just straight up out of the race is the is what I'm being told. But I'll take a. I would check the F1 Reddit maybe, or even just the sprint preview to get a better idea what's going on. The picture I've just seen is Leclerc stopped in a massive puddle of water. Did he drown the car? Did he drown the engine? Alonso gets one overtake done, which is good. Time to start pushing here with Sainz. Ferrari, so it's highly possible. Honestly, if it, Lando, let's be honest, if Leclerc being out of the sprint has anything to do with the water,
Caution on the battery.
considering the whole must be the water debacle from last time, that would be peak Ferrari. Why is your ERS exploding again, Alonso? Stop that. Stop having failures on your ERS. To be fair though, you've been juggling failures on this thing. Examined after session. That tells me that's going to be permanent. I need to buy a new ERS in Brazil. But I think the month should take over, so I should have money. At least that is a saving grace here. But yeah, reduced charge rate of the ERS for 40 laps is going to suck massively here for Alonso. Which is a bit tragic, but not unexpected. Did Sainz just have a moment? No, it was Ocon, of course.
Here we are then, looking at turn 12.
East off the throttle and aquaplaned? Okay.
Just the risk you take. The later you leave it.
It must be the water. Yeah, he aquaplaned is what I'm being told. That's interesting. DK has some images in Discord if people are interested. I'll take a look at that once I'm done streaming. But yeah, you're not wrong. I need to hurry this up a little bit. got so focused on explaining that a little bit that I just stayed in 2x for a long time, just chatting. Okay, where is Sainz going to come out? In 14th here. Sainz we just need to manage. If he's in top 10, I'm going to be happy. For Alonso, we are just struggling with that decrease in charge rate. It's not going to be a good thing. Gonna make the energy here be a little bit problematic. And as you can see, we're not really catching the cars ahead. Even with a vastly better tires here, just because we don't have ERS to use. So it is definitely hurting us. Like, there's no way around it. It's hurting us a ton. And try and do a little bit of harvesting here. Just at 0.1 megajoule, but it is enough to be a problem. There we go. Now we're finally catching Russell again. Gasly hit now with a mechanical fault. Oh, he beached the car? That's interesting. Just saw the video. Looks like the close brakes didn't work and he slammed against and grinded against the wall for a few seconds. Right side of the car has been badly damaged. Aquaplaned into the barrier. Damn, he kind of pulled a Stroll there then. That's unfortunate. As we lap an Alpine of Ocon. I'm definitely taking a look at that once I'm done with the stream. I can't show it on stream. Thomas already hit me once today with a copyright strike, funnily enough, so let's try and avoid that happening again.
There's a big accident on the start-finish straight.
There is a big accident. Tsunoda has crashed. The second one to crash during getting to the grid here. Formation lap, it's going to be Tsunoda. Just a quick little aquaplaning for him too. Okay, I'll take a look at it, Edster. No, mind. According to what I'm being told, he basically aquaplaned into the barrier, and the right side of the car is pretty damaged, is what I'm told. And since he couldn't get to the grid basically by his own power, I don't think he's allowed to start. So, could be a pit lane start, but the mechanics have a lot of work to do in the next 15 minutes then. If he has, in fact, picked up a lot of damage. Did Sainz just pull a double overtake? Beautiful, man. Beautiful. We love that. Good work, lad. You know what? Deploy a little bit more. Get away from Russell and Rick. Alonso's just doing his own little Sunday drive here, I feel. Perez now in the pit lane. And we fly by. Norris is already a pit stop ahead of us, but he does need to pit again. All these hard runners will probably go till the end for the most part, which could make things interesting if we go on a soft tire and try to chase them down again. If we can stay with Perez here, that would be huge. But you can already see it. We're losing energy every lap we do, so yeah, that's not happening. We're gonna need to just recharge every few laps there to have energy to use, which is not great, but just a reality of the situation. At this rate, Sainz might actually catch Alonso before the end of this. Verstappen Hungary? Yeah, it's supposedly... It's a very similar situation, mind. What I'm being told. Thank you for dropping about mind. Appreciate it. I'll be heading towards the sprint myself in 22 laps time. So, yeah, I appreciate you stopping by. I probably should have stopped like 15 minutes earlier. But we will power through this, and then I'll join you for it. Thank you for dropping by again. Appreciate it. Yeah, for now, just go full send on Alonso, go full send on Sainz. And we'll just try and get something out of this. The damage to the ERS is kind of unfortunate, but not unexpected. Let's face it, we've pushed that ERS to the limits. This is the third time it's had an issue, so...
It should be soon.
It's as far... It's really not unexpected. And when we do pit now, we're going to come out basically behind Sainz, but still in a good position. Still in a good position, all things considered. Tsunoda's fault now has become terminal, and he does make his way into the pit lane. Can Alonso catch the cars ahead here? That's going to be a pretty tough ask, I think. As we have multiple cars crashing. Who has crashed this time around? Yeah, the timing was surreal. And we have another Ferrari causing a problem with a Mercedes here, apparently. Got 12 minutes. Hustle, hustle. I am hustling. To be fair, it's time for Ferrari to kidnap the Red Bull crew and have them fix it. I think it's going to be the only solution. Yeah, I think it's time to get Sainz in here. And honestly, going aggressive on the mediums is probably going to be okay. We're going to be losing quite a number of positions here when we pit, but we're going to have to just eat it. Oh, never mind. I was looking at Alonso's time. We didn't actually lose just one position. And unless something happens here, there's not really anything we can do to influence the result. So, that's 16 exit. 6th and 7th is still a result I can be happy with, I'm not going to lie. We've had some help from safety cars in the previous two results, but at this rate, it looks like Alonso is actually going to catch Russell. 2 seconds gained a lap, and it's not stopping anytime soon. The energy is a problem, however. But I would like to catch Russell here before the end, if possible. Run a little bit of top up, because I think we have to.
Copy.
The recharge of the battery being this terrible is so bad. And we have a virtual safety car here. Sergeant in the wall.
Dash positive.
Copy.
Virtual safety car with 5 laps to go. That's, well, 6 laps.
Okay, understood.
It's not good.
Now this happened as they arrived at turn 12.
There's no way Lando bowls this win. Last time I said this, Lando bowled the most guaranteed win ever in Monaco. I think I remember that. It's almost hilarious how that worked out. Mechanical failures galore right now for everyone.
Ending.
Okay, let's see here now. 3 laps to go. Full send from Alonso. We have a little bit of battery to play with. Not enough really for me to deploy. It's the unfortunate part here, but I think I have to if I want to get up to Russell here. So let's see what we can do. The dying moments of this race here. Is it enough? I don't think so. Block on might have actually done it for us there. Block on played a vital part for us this time around. Thank you, Floof, for block on sacrifice. Let's see here now. With DRS here, the double DRS zone, we should have no problem just sliding by. Just like that. Can't really do anything with the energy that we have, unfortunately. But there we are, and we're already gonna kind of squeeze out of the RS immediately here. And there we go, up to 5th, ahead of Russell. There is a Gasly ahead of us, but he's 15th, not 5th. 5th is us. And McLaren and Red Bull take the top 4 places. We get 5th. Can be happy with that. Sainz is going to end up 7th. And with that, we're ready for watching the sprint race.
Now, wasn't that a seriously good drive from Carlos Sainz?
Floof might not even be awake in the Cosinero. Floof, for some reason, Lando, Floof is in Twitch chat. I'm multi-streaming to both. Floof is in Twitch chat because YouTube isn't cooperating with him, so he's still here in spirit. But yeah, Floof and Edster have been chatting over Twitch. I'll try and get an integration going where we can actually see Twitch chat too on this screen in the future, if you will. So hopefully we can get both of them up and running. Is what I'll be hoping for. No points for the Alpines, indeed. But yeah, this is where we got into today. We're still 6th and 7th, unfortunately. And in the constructors, we're definitely most likely going to get 3rd, I think. We will continue this next time. Hope everyone will be enjoying the sprint. Thank you all very much for watching. As I said, I'll try and get an integration going so we can get both chats up on screen when I do stream. And hopefully that will make things a little bit better for everyone. Alpine is in 9th, shared with Williams at the moment. So, yeah, we'll see how this works. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching again. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Follow on Twitch if you haven't already. And I shall see you all next time. Bye-bye.